We are back. Let's rock out. Alright. Let's check something real quick. Make sure this is working.
Right.
Alright, cool. The live is working. If you guys can hear me good, drop a yes in the chat real quick for me. If everyone can hear me good, audio good, let me know in the chat, please, and thank you. Damn, the live looks clean as shit right now, bro. Holy moly. All right, y'all. Today was definitely a bit of a trickier day, not gonna lie. I ended up closing out red on the day, just to be transparent. I think I honestly took a lot of senseless trades. Like I took a lot of trades that I should not have taken. So like my first trade of the day was green, and I just felt like it wasn't enough. And that's where sometimes I get caught up a lot, is like sometimes the numbers can be sometimes iffy for me sometimes, right? So basically I had took a trade earlier today, and it was actually this one right here. So we can actually go over it and why I actually took this trade. So, you know, right now we're looking at IWM, and, you know, out the gate, I just wasn't fully in the moment. And I think sometimes, like, during pre-market, I'm looking at so many different tickers sometimes that it's hard for me to focus in on the one that looks the best. And the reason I say this is because if you look at here on the daily time frame, if you come down to IWM, right, we had just retested this key level right here, which was support at 244.70. So we had just retested it for the first time, right? And I went into it, and my plan was like, hey, I'm looking for a bounce off of this level, right? Which is right here. And you know, I ended up getting the failed to down, which is the actionable signal. So the reason I like this 245 level is because it's previous year highs. So this particular level here is a very key level of support. So we came back to this level, right? And it gave me the actionable signal. But here's where I got caught, right? Because the market had just opened, I didn't want to mess around in the first 15 minutes, right? And the reason I say that is because a lot of times that first 15 minutes can be so volatile, especially when you're trading something like IWM after a day where it already sold off drastically, right? I wasn't really like coming in like rushing to try to take a trade or anything. But this was my setup, and I just didn't take the setup. So the way that you would have actually taken this trade, right, is number one, you would have identified this level off of a higher time frame, right? So off of a daily, off of a 4-hour time frame, you could have identified this level and just marked it out, right? Or you just have the indicators, right? The indicator that I use is called the 50%er. I'll type it down below in the chat. I just typed it down below in TikTok, and then YouTube. This is IWM Rose, what we're currently looking at. And then YouTube, let me actually send this out on YouTube as well. So it's called 50%er. YouTube, if you guys see that in the chat, let me know. I just sent it out just now. Let me know if you guys can see that. So it'll automatically mark out these key levels for you, and you can just pretty much go in and you can remark them and label them and stuff like that. But this was the initial trade, and this failed too. They ended up giving you, and this is what this is telling you, right? Price sold off during the pre-market, sold off, right? Came to a strong level of support and gave you a failed to down. Well, what is a failed to down when you're trading the strat? That means we failed to go lower, right? We failed to go lower. We were selling off, and then we found a floor. We found a base. But another reason this actually frustrated me today, I'm not actually happy with my performance in trading today. Actually, this entire week, I've been kind of off mentally. And it's just me being like completely transparent. But the reason I say I'm not happy with this is because if you would have just looked left, you would have seen that price did this same exact scenario the day before, where it got down to these levels and then immediately reversed. So if you look at these two candles, right, how many of us can agree? This scenario here looks very similar to this scenario here. How many of us can agree to this, right? You may not have had as big of a sell-off, but from looking at this candle here and then this candle here, do these not look very similar? Comment yes if you agree. Or am I just tripping, right? So you know, when you're looking at this setup, right, one thing I just didn't do was look left and really identify this. I think I was moving too quickly in the morning, and it was too many things that I was looking at, which is why today I decided like I'm gonna really just focus in on just one or two tickers and just leave it off at that, and just pick my favorite ones and just stick with it, right? Because I think that sometimes too much noise is not good, especially when you're trading. And thank you guys for the badges. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. So this scenario here happened literally the day before, and I knew it, and I still, you know, I still missed it. I don't know what I just wasn't fully in the moment, like I said. But the way you would take this trade is this is a failed 2 down. So you're waiting for this break above 245.35. This is a 30-minute candle during pre-market, right? So this is what it would look like. On a failed 2 down, if you guys don't trade the strat, or if you're a little unfamiliar with the strat, you know, these things are called actionable signals, right? And basically what this means is, you know, when you see a particular type of candle, you take action, right? It's pretty simple, right? And, you know, when you're seeing a failed 2 down, you got to look at where you're getting the actionable signals at, right? So, you know, the thing that I like to make sure I identify is where is it happening at, which is previous year highs. So this is showing you that you have support here. This is support. So once price breaks above, right, 245.35, you take the calls, and then this is how much it paid out, because one of our members actually ended up taking this trade. So I'll show you guys what the percentage was on this trade in particular. So if we go over to trading profits, so it ended up being 337% off that trade alone. And this is again just proof that, you know, obviously everything that I talk about absolutely does work, but it's on you to make it work, right? Nothing works 100% of the time, but what you can take away from this is identifying when you're getting actionable signals around higher support and resistance levels. How do you find the percentage? What do you mean? You saying on the candle? I mean on the chart, or are you saying the trade itself? Are you saying, okay, I see what you're saying. But yeah, so this would have been the setup, and then you take the break here on the trade. Oh, so you go to Weeble. Once you take the trade, once you go into it, you can click it, and then you can basically share it. You can basically share it there. And give me 1 second. Let me actually make sure that this is actually moderated on my channel. All right, boom. Okay, we're gonna block them. Bada boom, bada bang. All right, cool. So again, this would have been your setup. Now, how do you mark out your targets in this particular scenario? The way you would do this is you would just use higher time frames, right? So you could use this line here. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So this here would be target 1, which is 245.80. So, you know, it's a 50-cent move. This is target 1. All right. Target number 2 is the 50% order block right here. Target 3 is here at previous month highs, and then target 4 is a gap fill, which the market had already gapped down a couple days in the past, right? So now having this gap still haven't been filled, right? It was an ideal target to have, and this move right here went, you know, close to 400%. So, you know, one of the things that you always got to consider is like, hey, you know, where am I getting in at? Why am I getting into this trade? Does it follow my plan? So I think that this trade, like, so I'll talk about the trade that I ended up taking, right? So the trade, I ended up missing this entry, right? I was watching Google and Microsoft this morning, and I just feel like this wasn't like the forefront of my mind. So I ended up missing out on this initial run. But once we filled this gap, right? Once we filled this is where I look to take an entry. And why would I take an entry like this? So I trade IWM pretty often, and normally, I'm not gonna say it happens all the time, right? But normally, 1 second, let me actually go ahead and bada boom. Okay. So, you know, normally out the gate when the market opens, if IWM rips like this and it fills a gap, there's a very high likelihood that people are going to be taking profits, right? It makes sense. Let's say, you know, you took this and you knew, let's say you don't even trade the strat. Let's just say you seen this was previous year highs and you took calls from this level, right? You know, thinking that was going to bounce, and it did. Well, when your target gets hit, what are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do when your last target gets hit? Who can tell me down below in the chat? What's the first thing you're gonna do when your last target gets hit when you're trading? Comment down below. Right? You're gonna close out your position, right? Panic sell is funny, You're just gonna cash out. You're gonna either take a partial port of your trade, right, or of your profits, or you're gonna close out the whole thing, right? So when a gap gets filled, right? So in this scenario, when a gap gets filled, it becomes resistance, right? So remember, the chart doesn't like imbalances, right? What is an imbalance? It just means when there's candles that haven't covered a certain amount of space inside of the chart, it's just naked, it's called a gap. And when there's a gap in there, the market likes to fill the gaps, right? And this is just what happened, right? It came up out of the gate and filled the gap. So the first thing I'm thinking is like, okay, we just filled this gap. Look at this move. This is from 245.30 to 248. Now, if you trade IWM pretty often, you'll understand how drastic and how big of a move this is. This doesn't, out of the gate, a lot of times it doesn't move like this. Like, this is an explosive ass move, right? So in this scenario, you got to always be able to flip your hat. Like, if you miss your entry on the first time, right, where would be your next entry at, right? You could have taken calls through here or here, but if you're looking to short this, right, if this was a huge move and you're looking to short it, where would be the ideal spot to short it, right? Could you short it at previous month highs? Sure, but it's not the same as a gap fill, right? So when this pulls up and it fills the gap, this is where I took my entry at on puts. Now, why did I do that? Because yes, we could have kept running, but I risked my stop loss. Like, I went into the trade and I was okay with how much I was gonna lose, right? I was pretty confident in this setup because not only was this my last target, so if I would have taken the calls, that was my last target. So if that was my last target, a bunch of other traders who are trading this as well are gonna be looking at the same thing as a target as well. And this just basically, panned out perfectly for me. Ended up pulling back, and then I basically sold out on this candle here. And then I missed this entire drop, but my contracts would have probably went worthless if I tried to wait the entire day. And this is a lot of times why people, you got to be careful trading same day contracts, because sometimes, it's not like futures, right? In futures, you can go in on a trade and you can sit in it the entire day. You can sit in it for days, right? Options is different, right? Which is why you guys are seeing a lot of people say like, oh, I switched from options trading to futures trading or whatever else, right? And it's majority of the time it's because of the Greeks, right? So there's so many different variables that are affecting your trade outside of just you, right? So when you're trading IWM and you're trading same day contracts, you have until 4 p.m., right, to close out of your trade and be profitable on it, right? And it's because the time decay, exactly, Prez, right? It's the time decay. The longer you hold your contracts when you're options trading, right, the more worthless they become if price does not move in your direction. So what does that mean, right? Let's say you bet on something to get, let's say in this case scenario, right, let's say I took 244 puts, right, at this level, which means that my contract has to pull back under 244 by the end of the day. This is a huge move in itself, right? So the way that you're looking at this is like, with options trading, you can't just sit in this all day long and wait till it gets to this price, right? Because if it consolidates, which it did after I sold, ends up going higher and consolidating, the theta is killing your contracts. Is this making sense? So a lot of the times it's more so focused, or your focus should be to take the right entries at the right times of the day. Because a lot of times this is around 12 o'clock, 11, 12. I don't like trading in this type of range, right? I like to catch the first 2 hours. KJ, bro, relax, gang. You could probably just lead alive, my boy. Just lead alive. You good, bro. You don't need to hear nothing else I got to say. Okay, Strat. Yes, ma'am. Right? So, in this case scenario, right, I just shorted this off of my last target of calls. And I just took it back down. And I closed here on VWAP. Which is, somebody asked me, somebody on YouTube, they asked me, what is the blue dots? This is called the VWAP. It's called the VWAP. So I just took it back. You can use this as support and resistance, which, you can tell that price was hovering above this. So when we pulled back, we ended up bouncing off VWAP and going higher before we pushed lower. So, a lot of the times, like some trades, because you're trading options, you don't have as much time or the convenience to be able to sit in a trade all day without the trade being affected. And this is why, like, I had started paper trading futures, because I've tried it before in the past, but I just wanted to kind of give it exactly, this is not professional advice, right? I'm not predicting the market or anything like that. This is just me sharing with you guys my trades that I took today. But yeah, this is why I was kind of testing around with futures a little bit, not having to deal with time decay or Greeks. Like being able to execute a trade and sit in the trade until your target gets hit or until alert goes off, man, that's like game changing. But I like options because your contracts can multiply. Like the opportunity to make more money is higher in options, I feel like. But it's also easier for you to lose money in options too. As a beginner, what concept should you be learning first? I still think support and resistance should be the first thing you go after. Understand when market is in greed leading to bait versus flush leading to cap. Okay. Hold on. I see some questions. I came late. Are we looking at a 30-minute chart? Yeah, right now we're looking at a 30-minute. We're looking at a 30-minute. You trade live every day? Not every day. I try to go like 2 or 3 times a week. But more recently, it's been a little bit more often. But this is actually my first live of this week. Do you trade live? No, not every morning. So yeah, this was the trade that I took right here. And then I took a pointless trade at the end of the day. It just didn't play out. So this is, again, like I said, like once we broke this low of day right here, I ended up taking these puts. And the thing that I kind of noticed after taking this trade is like sometimes even the break of low on the day at the end of the day, I just don't think I like trading end of days. Like I don't think it fits my style of trading, because in this scenario, like although it went lower, it didn't drop how I thought it would. Like I'm thinking we were gonna take out 6,800, right? But we just didn't get that drop, and those contracts ended up going worthless. So I actually lost. I'm actually red on the day from this. Even though price went in my direction, it's because of the theta on the contracts, because of the time that I bought them. So think of it like this: I bought this contract here on the break of this line right here, this low of day. I bought this at 3:30 p.m. So, and I bought 6,800 puts. So price had to get under 6,800 within 30 minutes from 68.35, and it just didn't work out. So, you know, but I've learned that end of days are very risky, and just try to play with profits during end of days. Use low of day as your take profit instead of entry. Yeah, you're right. I thought we were going to get a stronger move at the end of the day, but it just didn't happen. And that's why I would say that wasn't a part of my plan to take. Like, and this is something that I've identified, and I think some of you guys who trade in here, you might identify this as well. Sometimes you might be taking a trade that just, sometimes you're taking trades that are just not within your pre-market plan, right? And like one thing that I've noticed is like for myself, like in the beginning when I first started trading, I was having trouble sticking with the trades that I was planning out before the day started. So now, even looking at this trade was never in my plan. Like before the market opened, I was never thinking to myself, yeah, I'm gonna take SPX at the end of the day. That wasn't something I was thinking of, right? I was thinking of, here's my setups, right? Because I send them out to my Discord. So let me show y'all, like these were our setups, and these paid pretty nicely, right? If I come over here to the trading floor inside of Discord, we had a couple members hit their first $1,000 day in here. So Kelly, she made, here it is right here. Where is she? That's Chloe. She's building a small account. This is Smooth. No, let me scroll up more. Caterpillar. Okay, here it is, right here. Yo, that's $1,005 this morning, my first day, or first 1K day. So you know, this was pretty dope. But again, a lot of the setups that I'm showing y'all are the same setups. But like I said, like my setups that were planned for today is right here. And SPX was never in my plan, right? Like our setups that we were looking at were QQQ, IWM, which I ended up taking. I missed my first entry, but you know, I still caught the downside. Google was on our watch list. Now look at this, right? So earnings beat led to a gap up in the stock. Use the pre-market highs and lows as your entries. Calls above 299.50, puts below 291.20. So I sent this at 8:51 a.m. before the market opens, right? And when you come over here and you look at Google, and this is again part of why I'm saying this is because I just did not follow my plan today, right? This triggered, and I'm talking absolutely went, right? Like, soon as the trade triggered at open, because I had alert set, you can see I still have this alert set here. But this was your entry, right? Your pre-market highs, which is here, and then you got pre-market lows, which is down here, and you just use these, right? And then once price broke lower, right, we ended up coming to our first target and then went a little bit further. I thought it would probably fill the gap, but it didn't. But yeah, so this is a part of what I'm saying is, you got to go into the market. Like, when you're trading, you got to trade what you set out to trade in the beginning of the day. Like, before the market opened, trade that and that only. I have lost more money than I can fucking think of by trading stuff that did not align with what was on my pre-market plan. How many of you guys can agree with that? Like, how many times have you done that? Or how many of you can agree that you've done that in the past? When you enter, do you get profits before it hits the out of the money targets or until it hits? It depends on the trade, honestly, and you know, the time frame that I have on it. Pinky, just shoot me over an email. We'll send it out to you. Me today, bro. Yeah, it happens, right? It happens. I just think that sometimes when you go into the market and you're trying to trade something that doesn't fit the plan that you painted out, it's just going to be harder for you overall. So yeah, this trade right here ended up paying out perfectly. You know, you had your entry at 291.21, and then we dropped to a low of 280. This is an $11 move, and then we still made our way back lower, right? Even though we popped and recovered, it sold right back off. So, you know, anyone who took puts earlier in the group, they ended up getting paid on those. But yeah, like I said, a lot of times is, you know, you're losing a lot of money because you're not following the plan that you set out for yourself. And this is me talking to myself too, mind you. Like, everything I'm giving y'all right now is like, I'm just chilling right now, but I'm still reinstilling things that I need to do for myself as well. Best YouTubers to watch for options trading? There's a lot of them. I mean, really, you just got to find one that works best for you. Can I give you money to trade for me? Unfortunately, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I'm sorry. I'm new to trading. If you guys want to check out, I have a free 8-hour course in my bio. If you guys want to check it out, it's 100% free. There's no card option. There's no Apple Pay, PayPal. There's none of that shit. There's no card option. You just put your email and phone number in. We send it over to you. Okay. So yeah, my end of day trade, this just was not, I shouldn't have taken this trade. I don't regret it. Free 99, yes. I know, it's just 100% free. Okay. The link is in my bio. And then for those of you in here who already trade and you're just not finding consistency with your trading, or you want to learn more about, if you want to learn more about the Strat, smart money concepts, or how to grow an account overall, I'm hosting a live trading workshop in about 2 weeks on a Sunday. So not this Sunday, but the Sunday after that, I'm hosting a private live trading workshop. So if you want to register and reserve a seat, it is 100% free. You can click right here to reserve a seat. This is specifically for people who are already working 9-to-5s or have a business that is cash flowing. So if you're already making money, if you have over $2,500 to your name, right, or more than that, right, this class is specifically for you. If you do not fit that criteria, just check out the free course. Okay. Yeah, this is SPX right here. Yeah, this was a goof move, honestly, right? Like, ideally, honestly, if we're gonna be honest, I should have taken this entry here. Like, if we're gonna be real, I should have taken this. Why would I take this level? Because this is our previous day lows. This is the lows of yesterday. So if we break this level, right, the chances of us coming back down and lower is pretty high. Honestly, it is very high. Which is why, like, a lot of times when people say, a lot of times, you know, you can use previous day highs and lows as a guideline, right? I don't know if any of y'all use those levels or not, but if you don't, I would say check it out. Even if you trade futures, right? Go up to the daily time frame, look at the candle to the left of today, and just mark out the high and the low, and watch how price either respects these levels, right? It uses that support and resistance, or when it breaks through, it goes with volume. I like using Weeble. Yeah. What else did we have that went crazy today? So we know Apple reported earnings today. Apple did pretty good, not gonna lie, but I think this is gonna get IV crushed. I think if someone didn't have leaps on these, or if they just tried to take some weekly shit, they're gonna get cooked in the morning. Especially if this does not hold this level, it's cooked. Yeah, we might end up gap. I mean, it's possible we gap up. You had Amazon report today; they did really well. You know, Amazon is actually a great company. When you really think about it, like the amount of stuff that they provide. I mean, how many like I don't know about y'all, but like AWS is so important. Damn near everything stopped working when AWS went down. Think about that. Google Calendar wasn't working. My Webull wasn't working. Robinhood wasn't working. People's emails wasn't coming through. Right? It's crazy. It's crazy. I bought shares of Amazon. Good shit. I'm learning AWS right now at the moment. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, so we might end up gapping up. Who knows? I don't think during pre-market we've really, oh, well, I mean, yeah. We filled the gap, bounce from here. This is an 8-point bounce. It's fucking crazy. Apple is definitely carrying the way. I think Nvidia ended up pulling back, yeah, back under, well, we held 200. Pulled back significantly. Like this, I wouldn't have wanted to trade this today. Let's look at AMD really quick. Yeah, same thing here. A lot of choppiness. Wouldn't be ideal to trade this. Like this is why I just stick with, you know, what I know that works. And that's gonna be IWM. Very, very consistent. Very, very consistent. What moving averages do you use? I don't use moving averages. I just use the Strat, which are the numbers, and then VWAP. How much do you need to get started? I would say like more than 1,000. I'll say bare minimum 1,000. What do you need? Just a computer and an iPhone, or a computer and a phone. If you guys want to learn the strat, I have a YouTube video on it for free, or you can just click the link in my bio has a free course to it, so you can learn all of this for free. Why don't you trade options? I do trade options. Yes, a laptop, or you can use a computer, either one, like a desktop. You trade NQ? Nah. I'll trade QQQ, but not NQ. What's your YouTube? Just my first and last name, Dantes Akram. All right, so we looked at this. I actually want to take a look at SPY. Yeah, I mean, this was straight bullshit all day. Price action has been very tricky at all-time highs. But I think when the top does come in, I think it's going to be fucking crazy. I don't think we're there yet right now. But I think when we get to that top, there's gonna be so much money that you can make during that time period from going down. And then when we bottom out, looking for the next move higher, crazy. Come on over to futures, bro. Man, I'm paper trading futures right now until my money continues, or not continues, but until it hits my TradeOvate account. So right now we just vibing till then. Like this is what I like about let's take a look at this, right? Like with futures, right? Well, this is currently off. Let's look at we can go look at ES or something like that, right? This is actually, hold on, let me see something. Oh fuck. Let's look at can actually use this as an example right now. I just like the fact that you can really move your stop loss and calculate your risk management prior to getting into the trade. 7,000 to 7,300 is my guess. I definitely think like somewhere around like, I actually don't know. I don't even want to take a guess because I think when I do that, it creates a bias around what could happen. I just like to know that things could happen. So yes, we could get all the way up there. How did you learn and what did you start with? I started off by paying people, honestly. Like that's why I don't really understand the culture of like, oh, this person sells a course I'm not buying. Like I'm not gonna lie, I've had some bad experiences buying courses and shit, but like a lot of them are really good, right? And I think some people have just bought from people who were invalid, right? They weren't experienced in their field, or whatever the case scenario was. But like, I bought a lot of courses, I paid for a lot of mentorships, and I don't have a problem with it. I think right now people are like handicapped at this point. Like, people don't want to go pay for information, and it's like, oh, I'd rather just go learn on YouTube. That's fine, but you're not remembering, or you're probably forgetting, or not even thinking about it. When you go learn from YouTube, there's so many different people teaching so many different things in different ways to learn it, and then all the information is scattered. So like, when I was paying for mentorships, or I was paying for courses or Discord groups and shit like that, everything was formatted and organized for me to just go in and learn. But I also think, because I am okay, like, I'm not attached to money. Like, I'll spend money on things that I feel like is going to be valuable to me, or it's going to, you know, allow me to grow more. Does that make sense? I spend more on my intellect than I do on my presentation. And like, some people might be like, oh yeah, I can never do that, or whatever the scenario is, right? But you know, in all reality, it's like, you know, you either care more about how you look, or you care more about how you think and how you communicate and how you understand things, or you care more about skill sets, right? That's just me, right? Now, a lot of people may not agree with me on that, and that's fine. But like, you got to understand, there's tax brackets, not because of who you are in your environment. There's tax brackets because the information, right? Like, a lot of people are just ignorant. They don't want to go out and learn. So it's like, I know people don't like doing that, so I'll go do it for them, for myself though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll go pay for some information. Look, the most I've spent on a mentorship was $25,000. Now, you know, to an average person, paying somebody $25,000 for information is fucking Looney Tunes. But how do you think I feel? How do you think I look at it when people go to college and they pay $100K, and there's like, that shit is all scattered all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, that's just my opinion though. So everyone has their own way of learning. You just gotta pick which one works best for you. So yeah, that's pretty much how I learned though. But then again, to be fair, I was already doing a lot of long-term investing before I got into trading. So I kind of had like an unfair advantage before getting into trading. Like, I had already been investing long-term. I had $250,000 in the stock market before I ever took like real trades. Like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was already doing long-term, but it's because I had businesses too. Are you looking at Meta right now? Nah, we're looking at NQ. Let me actually switch off and go back to options. Where do you trade? I trade on Webull. Find friends to study together and study American stocks together. Honestly, I really don't care to have friends to do it with me. A lot of people are not going to be as dedicated as you. This road is a lonely one. And you gotta respect it and understand it and appreciate it and be thankful for it, but understand it more importantly. Because at the end of the day, like, I've learned that people just they're not going to be as dedicated as I am, at least in my personal opinion. How do you feel about TJR? Honestly, I don't really, you know, politic on stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my place. He's been in this space a very long time. He's helped a lot of people, and he makes content. Like, I don't really know him either. I don't judge people if I don't know them. So YouTube, yo, shout out to everybody on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. Inspired me, bro. Yo, appreciate you, bro. Yeah, right now I'm just kind of backtesting. I kind of want to see, like, this isn't like an ideal way of trading, but I kind of want to just see it for myself. Something I've kind of been thinking about is, like, I wonder how well this works. Where if you look at IWM, right? I just want to backtest it. If you just use pre-market highs and lows and only took calls if it broke above and only took puts if it broke below, right? Now, this isn't a format or a way of trading that I am accustomed to, like, that I really focus on, but it's something that I was looking at and I'm like, damn, this shit works a lot. Now, there's going to be times where it doesn't work because nothing works all the time, but it's something worth looking at. So, like, you know, if I came back here and I looked at pre-market highs, which is here, pre-market lows, it breaks lower. I mean, this paid right here, right? Pre-market highs, pre-market lows, it broke the downside and it pays. Now, this one's a little bit different because the pre-market highs is all the way up here and then pre-market lows all the way down here. So I would have invalidated this, right? I would have probably not taken that. But if you come over here and you look at this, right? Pre-market highs, pre-market lows. When price broke above this high, ended up going higher the rest of that day. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows, we break the downside, and then all your targets get hit. And this is just me just doing this with y'all because I thought it was pretty interesting when I was looking at this earlier. You know, pre-market highs, pre-market lows. Soon as the market opens, it breaks and flushes. Right? Come back here. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows. Price breaks under, then goes back through and pushes even higher the rest of the day. I don't know how many times we've been through this already, but this is pretty fucking crazy. Probably would have invalidated this if it gapped, so I probably would have not taken this at all. So look at this. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows, price breaks under and flushes the entire day. Right? Pre-market highs, pre-market lows. Price breaks above and runs $2 before coming back lower. Let's look at this one. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows. Price opens, break the lows just a little, and then runs to the upside. Like, this is a crazy fucking move right here. Like, this is, I actually remember this day. This is actually crazy. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows, breaks above, pays a little bit before reverses, and then goes back higher. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows, broke to the upside, then reversed and went lower. So like, are y'all seeing this with me? Does this not look like consistent? I probably wouldn't like just only focus on this because that's not like a trading style that fits me, but it's kind of crazy how simple this shit is. Is this a strat? Yes. What do the numbers mean? All of these numbers mean a different thing. If you don't know the strat, I would recommend checking it out. I have a YouTube video on it, so you can check it out. It's called, it's on my channel, Dantes Akram. Or if you're in here and you already trade and you want to learn more about the strat, you want to have a better idea of how to trade and just grow your account, you can reserve a seat to next Sunday's live trading workshop. I'm going to seat 500 people on a private Zoom call and teach all this to you for free. So all you gotta do is click this button right here. This is specifically for people who work a 9 to 5 or people who have a business that actually generates income. I don't think you should be trading if you're broke. Just saying, that's my opinion. But yeah. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows, price breaks lower before it goes higher. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows, ends up reversing right out the gate, selling off. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows, it breaks above and then reverses, then goes higher, right? So it's not gonna work all the time. How can I reserve a seat? You click this orange button right here. If you're here on TikTok, click this orange button right there and you'll be able to reserve your seat, and then you'll get a text message and an email once you reserve a seat. Okay. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows, price breaks above, it's out of there. Pre-market highs, pre-market lows, price breaks lower and sells off. Pre-market highs and lows, price breaks above. So I'm not saying this is something I would personally do, but it's just something interesting. Like, this is how I back test. I'll go back and I'll look at certain time frames. I'll go look at the 1 hour time frame. I'll go see how price reacted to it. I'll go see how something reacted around a certain level. Eddie was good, bro. But yeah, and I'll just go back. I'll go back shit until I feel like I'm tired of looking at charts. Loki just started it on a demo account. Is 12K enough to start trading though? Yeah, that's definitely enough. Not like you don't have to trade with that, right? Like, I would probably say start with like 1,000 or 1,500 or even 2,000. I wouldn't trade with the whole thing though. Hell no. You can start off with a demo account though. What do I need to get started to make an impact? Get information first. Capital is very important. You don't need all that though. Thank you, brother. No problem. No problem. And y'all can feel free. I know a lot of y'all are in here. We got 250 people on the check-in on TikTok. Shout out to everybody that's in here. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit the follow button. And if you haven't reserved your seat to the live trading workshop on Sunday, not this Sunday, next Sunday, just click this orange button right there. You can reserve a seat right here. I can't see the orange button. Just click the link in my bio then. It's gonna be the first link in my bio, in my link tree. You'll be able to reserve your seat through there as well if you don't see the orange button. The VIP prep kit is basically if you want to come to the masterclass with additional information, so that way you're a little bit more prepared. Let's see here. Okay, so we already went over IWM. Was this from PayPal? No, it was actually. I actually want to see this on a lower time frame though. On Google, I want to drop to a 5 minute. Yeah, I mean, right out the gate, this thing. Like, even this, like, I was literally watching this setup, and I'm like, man, like, I don't think it would take out that target. It wasn't an ideal trade for me to take. It just didn't follow my plan, but this moved back higher. So, like, a lot of times what I've noticed is the times that I don't follow my plan the most is when I missed my initial setup, right? So, like, if price breaks under here, and this is my entry, and I missed the entry, now I'm trying to trade all these other scenarios that was not my entry. Have y'all done that before? Pay close attention, guys. This man's is giving y'all some of the best info I wish I knew when I first started. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. That's love, man. Right, but like when I miss my initial entry, it's like, oh fuck, now I gotta go catch the shit. And now you're like, exactly, Main said, right? You're just chasing the shit. You know what I mean? Dude is definitely legit. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, DC Dad. You're just chasing the shit now, right? And I have caught myself this week more than the last 2 months I've been chasing. And I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like my initial entries be so like particular that sometimes when they trigger too quick in the market or too early in the market, I'd be like, oh fuck, like I might as well just wait. And then you end up waiting, and then the move is playing out, and you're like, damn, I could have been in that trade. You know what I mean? Acknowledging is very important. It's good that you are. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, you know me. I'm very transparent about stuff. I know when I'm like not following my plan and stuff. But it's like when I'm like, there's like this flow state. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever felt this before when you were trading, right? But sometimes you can get so focused that like it don't even feel like it just feels like you're flowing with the market. I don't know. I know it sounds weird as fuck, and some of y'all gonna say some crazy shit, right? But like there has been times, right now this is Google, Omada. There has been times where I've traded and I just felt like I was just gliding. Like I seen my entry, I took the entry, target 1, target 2, target 3 hit, closing out for the day. And it's the easiest. And you know what's crazy? Those days happen the most when I'm live trading. That's fucking insane. Bro, I seen you on YouTube and using the strat. Yo, thank you, bro. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Now flow state is real. I think it's real. I have a few friends who make 7 to 8 figures with trading. Some of the top people that y'all probably follow on YouTube and shit. Like, I'm very cool with people like that. And it's crazy, when I stream, I perform the best when I stream. I just don't know why it's like that. Yeah, and you feel like going back in, yeah. I remember trading live on QQQ and it was like flow state. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Some days I'm so in sync with the market. I know exactly what I'm looking at. And I think it's a confidence thing too. You come into the market very confident that, hey, whatever happens, happens. And that you're okay with just taking the setup that you mapped out pre-market. That has been the issue now that I'm like thinking about it. I keep missing my initial entry just to look for another trade within that entry that was not the initial entry, and then it doesn't work because it wasn't a part of the plan. You know what I mean? Trades by Sai have taught me so much for free, bro, on his YouTube. That's what's up. This is a stupid question, but how do you actually exit a trade once you reach profit? Do you just sell? Yeah, you just sell it. You sell it on Webull or whatever platform you're using. I caught 500 covered calls today on Meta, 659, 660 for $80 per contract. Let's go. Explain my chart. Okay, so the first indicator that I'm using is called the Strat Assistant, right? It's the numbers. So this is the Strat. I'm not the creator of it. You can look up Rob Smith on YouTube, or if you want an easier explanation, I think my video is probably one of the easiest to understand videos on YouTube about the strat, in my personal opinion, right? So you can check it out. So this is the strat. These numbers is a part of the strat, right? The colors of the candlesticks a part of the strat assistant. This indicator here is called VWAP. I'm pretty sure most people are familiar with this. And then this indicator that shows the gaps, this is basically open spaces on a chart where price has not gone back through yet, right? This is called Lux Algo. And then yeah, those are the main indicators that I use. Rest in peace, Rob Smith. Yes, sir. Rest in peace to Rob Smith. But yeah, that's pretty much on my chart. And then all these lines are just support and resistance. I think majority of you, I don't know, actually, I don't know. Some of you were probably here when I did that. I think it was like maybe a week ago. I did a live where I just showed you guys how to find support and resistance. And a lot of you guys messaged me afterwards and said you guys liked it a lot. So yeah, love your strat intro on YouTube. Are you going to make another going in depth? It's actually crazy. I actually just posted another one up today at 12 p.m. So if you guys want to learn how to take entries using the strat, you can check out that video on YouTube. You can check that out on YouTube. Do it again. Do you guys want me to break down how I find support and resistance again? If we get enough yeses in the chat, I'll do it. I just don't know how many people were here in that live when I did teach it. But if we get enough yeses, I'll rock out. Curious how long you've been trading? I got started in 2022. Curious, and profitable. Love to hear people's journeys. I've been profitable about a year and a half, but I was already profitable from long-term trading or swing trading, and long-term investing. So options, don't get me wrong, was still fucking difficult as hell because it's way different from swinging shares. So like, I was always working with bigger amounts of capital when I was swinging shares. So like, a position would be 5 months till it hits my target. There was really no, outside of being stopped out, like price going in the opposite direction, there was no Greeks, there was no nothing. It was just way simpler. At 10K likes, all right. So look, at 10,000 likes, I'll go over finding support and resistance, okay? I'll mark out the charts. I'll show you exactly how I find my levels and then how you use them as targets. I'll map out the entire thing for you guys once we get to 10,000 likes. So just tap the screen just a whole bunch of times. And yeah. This is on TradingView. This is the platform I use. Yo, thank you guys for the follows. 175 follows, and it's only been 47 minutes. That's awesome. Yes, liking now. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that. Yes. I will say though, swinging shares is far better than options. Leaps is great, right? Option trading leaps, great. But swinging shares, like, granted, not everyone's gonna have the type of capital that I can work with, but like if you have some level of capital, like I'll say like 2,500 plus, right? Or I'll say probably more than that, like 5K plus. If you have that type of money to be able to play with, I definitely recommend swinging shares. Buying quality companies that you know, that you understand, you read the balance sheets, you know the cash flow statements, you know what products they develop, you know who the CEO is, you know their competitive moat, you know who their competitors are, you know what their competitors are releasing. Like when you know these things, swinging shares, oh my gosh, it's like walk in the park. You know what I'm saying? Walk in the park. I think MSTR actually reported today, and I wanted to see how they ended up doing. Yeah, they pulled back to 250 today. Oh my gosh. I mean, 235 might be in sight, yo. It might be in sight. That's crazy. We at 9,200 likes, all right? 800 more likes, and I'll show you guys how I find support and resistance. 2,500% on NVIDIA is wild. It is, bro. You gotta think. I've been buying NVIDIA since 2020, 2021. I've been buying NVIDIA since 2021. Fucking crazy. I remember you preaching about it in the Discord. Yeah, man. I be saying. Like I said, I'm far better of an investor than I am of a trader. Just to be completely honest here. Who actually buys NVIDIA? Shit. I'm up 2,500% on long term. You go show that to somebody who's on a hedge fund or on Wall Street, they'll think you're a god. No cap. Did we get there? All right, y'all. We at 10K likes. We at 10K likes. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's do it. I'm gonna walk you guys through step by step how I find my levels. Okay, so we'll start off with somebody give me a ticker, not a known ticker. Just give me a random ticker. Give me a random ticker. We can look at Google. Okay. So we're gonna look at Google first. Oh my gosh. Just cracked the fuck out my neck. My guy, remember you when you was selling them rags. Yo, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate all the support, fam. All right, let's do this. Okay, I heard that. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, my body's been cooked, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta go to the chiropractor again. I've not been myself, honestly. All right, so let's do this. All right, so let's mark out support and resistance. People on YouTube, you guys can ignore the BS, bro. There's nothing that I'm selling you guys in here. I have nothing to sell you. Any course that I do have is free. My group is paid and it's closed. It's full. There's no option for you to spend money with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, just if someone got something negative to say, you know, just let them do what they do. You know, let them live their life. It just helps my engagement, actually. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The algorithm likes when they talk, so I let them sit there and talk bullshit until they start talking crazy. All right, so how do I mark out support and resistance? Okay, so, you know, first off, let's first explain it in a quick and easy way for you to understand. When you guys are trading, there's two different things, okay? There is technical analysis, and there is, Zaire, you can click the link right here, or this orange button, and you can reserve your seat to the next one, the next live trading workshop. You can click right here, okay? It's 100% free. Block them at this point? I probably should. Yeah, I don't want, yeah, let me just block them out real quick, because I think it annoys the people who was in here, who actually rocking with us. So let's do this. Okay, boom. All right, YouTube, y'all should be good now. Shout out to everybody here on YouTube as well. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Thank you guys so much for the support. Okay, so let's get back to what I was saying, right? So we got support and resistance, okay? So before we get into support and resistance, we need to understand the two parts of trading, right? There is fundamental analysis and there's technical analysis, okay? So let's explain this. Fundamental analysis is basically going through and finding research, right? Understanding articles, right? So whether it be a CNBC article, reading certain information, right? So it's just gathering information from, you know, various sources, right? That is fundamental analysis. This goes hand in hand, right? With technical analysis. I think you should be using both of them. If you are only trading fundamental analysis without technical analysis, so someone might say, well, Ted, you didn't explain what technical analysis is. Technical analysis is what we're doing right now. Spending time on the charts, marking out levels, seeing where price can go potentially, and reacting off of that. So technical analysis is everything that has to do with charts. What chart platform do I use? I use TradingView. What is this platform that I'm using right now? TradingView. Where can you download it at? On your app store, on your iPhone. You can download on an iPad, a computer. You can go to tradingview.com. It's free, all right? Got that out the way. So we got fundamental analysis and technical analysis. Do we all know the difference between these two right here before I move on? Comment yes down below. There's 273 people here on the check-in on TikTok. So I need to see hella yeses. And YouTube, there's about 50 of y'all on here on YouTube. So I need to see as many yeses as possible from y'all on YouTube as well. So both of y'all, okay? Technical analysis, reading the charts, looking at what price is doing. What is the stock doing? Fundamental analysis, let me go read some articles, right? So both of them require reading. One of them is you're reading charts. The other one, you're reading articles, you're getting news, you're looking at information, right? You're watching CNBC, right? You're watching all those places. So I think we all understand that now, okay? So technical analysis, I think you need both of them to be a great trader, right? A lot of the highest level traders that I know use both. If you're not looking at when data is coming out or FOMC or interest rates or how it'll affect the economy, if you don't know these things, you're just trading with half of the amount of resources that you could have. So why not add more so you can be a little bit more prepared, right? That's a better way of putting it. So when I'm looking at support and resistance, right, this is one of the most fundamental strategies ever, right? I mean, I think it's just one of the first strategies that anyone really ever focused on, right? And it works really, really well. If you only traded support and resistance, you'll be perfectly fine. You don't have to trade the strat. You don't have to do any of that stuff. So like for this example, I'll just turn off all my indicators. So we'll turn this off. I'll keep this one on, and then we'll turn off the strat assistant, right? So this is how this will look, okay? So this is if I was using no indicators, no nothing, all right? So what is resistance, right? So if we took a tennis ball and we threw it at the ceiling, right? It's a ceiling, right? So the tennis ball will come back down. That is what resistance is. It is the ceiling. It is when price gets to a point and it ends up rejecting, or it's a high likelihood that it rejects, right? Or it already rejected in the past. Support is the direct opposite. It's the floor. If you take a tennis ball and you throw it at the floor, it's going to bounce. So when price gets to this level, it's going to bounce, or it bounced in the past, right? So how do I go about marking out my charts? Well, first off, I'll mark out the day before, right? So previous day highs, previous day lows. Why do I do that? Because it's a great guideline or a great support and resistance levels to have that price will oftentimes revisit. So oftentimes price will go back to these same levels again, right? To retest these levels again, right? Because price has memory. That's something you should remember. So this is today's price action, right? So, you know, if the market had just opened, I would have to mark out this, right? So how would I do that? I would grab this line and I will mark out the top and the bottom of this candlestick. Now, why did I do this? Because this is, again, your previous day highs and previous day lows. So you can go ahead and put PDH and PDL, just abbreviations, right? So this is how as soon as I come onto the chart, I'm marking out my recent levels, right? Next off, right, so this is today's price action. I'm gonna mark out the ceiling. So price got up to this point here, and then we ended up pulling back a tad bit, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mark this level here, right? This is a resistance. Z baby, what's up? Right, so this is resistance here. So these are the first three levels. You have your most recent level of resistance, okay? And then you got your previous day highs and previous day lows, okay? Now next, I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna look left, right? So the next thing you wanna look for is deep V's. What is deep V's? What am I talking about, deep V's? Well, when you see the price pulls back heavy and it abruptly stops somewhere, right? This is a floor, right? So it's not like you gotta, like whenever you're drawing support and resistance, you gotta make sure you just look left, right? Because notice how you have this level where you would think if you weren't looking far left, right? You would think that this just stopped here randomly, but in reality, we stopped here in the past too. So now I have a level where we dropped twice. So what exactly am I looking for? Right now I'm on the daily time frame. So this is another key thing, okay? So I know I'm kind of skipping around, so let me kind of organize myself a little bit better. When I'm drawing out support and resistance, because I day trade, I am drawing support and resistance on a daily or on the 4-hour time frame. That is just for me. If you scalp, you might have to draw support and resistance on a lower time frame, like an hour or a 2-hour. If you're a swing trader, you have to go to a higher time frame. You will be drawing it out on the daily or the weekly level, because these specific support and resistance lines, they matter based off the way that you trade, right? Now, you know, the higher the time frame support and resistance, the stronger it is, okay? So I'm gonna mark out this floor. Well, how do I know this? Because we tapped twice. So what you wanna see is at least, bare minimum, 2 taps, right? What do I mean by 2 taps? I wanna see price come down to the same level twice, or close to the same level, at least 2 times. Sometimes you get 3, 4, 5, 6 times, right? But you need to mark out, you know, the ones that have the 2, right? So where else would a deep V be at, right? So this is an upside down V right here. This level right here. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna mark this here. And it's like, I know I'm making it a little bit easier. I'm making it look really easy, but it's because like my mind is so programmed to just be able to see these things that like it's just far easier for me to just identify it, right? So these are your support and resistance. What else do I personally mark out? Okay, I mark out gaps, right? So what do I mean a gap? This open space, this is a gap. The stock closed here. It opened the next day higher, and it ran and continued to go higher. So this open space here, this gap, at some point in time, I don't know when, right? But at some point in time, this gap will get filled, meaning price will come from wherever it is and come back through and fill this space, right? So I'm going to mark this out. Why would I mark this out? Because it's the same thing as a level of support or a level of resistance, okay? So why am I marking out the gap fill on this side? Well, price gapped up, right? Price gapped up, which means sellers never had a chance to fill this space. So sellers need to fill this space. So the gap is on the downside. Does that make sense? I think it'll look better too if I turn on Lux Algo. I think it'll look like it makes more sense, right? Notice how this open box, this green box, it's green because buyers were in control when they made this move happen. And now sellers need to come back and fill this space. Making sense now? I think that makes a little bit more sense when the indicator was on. And again, you don't need indicators, right? Like, in all honesty, you could trade with just lines. That's it, right? You don't even need to trade the strat, right? I'm not here to tell y'all what you should be doing. I'm just here to share with y'all what works for me, okay? So everything making sense so far, y'all? Y'all still with me? Did I lose too many of y'all? Let me know in the chat. Give me some feedback. How we doing? We looking good or no? Do they have to fill the gap? They don't have to fill it exactly when you think. At some point in time, it will. Now, does it always happen? No, nothing 100% of the time happens. What only happens 100% of the time is that you know the market is going to move. Killing it? Thank you. I appreciate that. Fuck with this heavy? Dope, dope, dope. Okay, cool. Perfect. Perfect. All right, explanation was good. All right, awesome. So now we have the levels marked off, right? I'm gonna also mark off this level. This is the lows of today, right? So these levels are marked off now. These are marked off on a daily. So like when someone comes to my chart and they say, you know, on these live, and they be like, oh bro, your chart is too messy or it's too much stuff going on. That just means you don't understand it. As long, like, for every person in here, like, I just want you to win with trading, right? I want you to just do good. In all honesty, right? I don't want anything from you. I just want you to do good. And I want you to do so good to the point where you identify these things and you're okay with just muting out the noise. So like, I see a lot of stuff when I'm live and I'll be like, damn, you know, like, but it doesn't matter. If I see something and it works for me, just stick with it, okay? So what I'm telling you, all in all, is just stick with what works best for you and find something that works for you. If this works for you, keep listening. If it doesn't, you can leave. So I'm marking out these levels, right? And then you drop to a lower time frame. So look at this. The 4 hour is gonna have different levels of support and resistance. So the best way to draw out support and resistance is to shrink your chart, and then you'll notice these deep V's. So notice this level here. This is resistance. This is resistance. This was resistance. This was resistance until we broke out and went higher. This is on the 4 hour, right? Where's another level of resistance? You could mark out this level. Well, isn't it ironic, right? Look at this. If I mark this level here based off this, isn't it ironic that price, this was once resistance in the past, it comes down a little bit, breaks higher, and then this candle pulls back to the same line to retest it before we go higher? Isn't that kind of ironic? Isn't that kind of crazy? And you'll see this happens a lot. So what does this mean, right? What are the dynamics of support and resistance? Well, when price breaks through resistance, right, it now becomes the floor. So if I threw the tennis ball through the ceiling, right? Let's say I threw it up at the ceiling and it went through the ceiling and it went upstairs to the people above me. That is now going to become the floor. It is the new floor. It is the new minimum for price, right? At that particular time, right? So what this is showing you is that price broke out of resistance, retested, right? Came lower to see if, hey, is this a real fake out? I mean, is this a real move higher, or are we going back down? And then we went higher. And this is called a break and retest. It's called a break and retest. So if you didn't know that, there's something pretty important to know, right? You're explaining very nicely. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. You can use Fibonacci's as well. Yes, you can also use the Fibonacci's as well, guys. You can also use the Fibonacci's. I don't use them as much anymore. I used to in the beginning. I just personally like to just draw them out myself, honestly. It doesn't take too much time. And plus, I like to know the levels. Like when I read it out loud, where I'm like, okay, you know, 292 is a key level. Like for some reason, it just sticks in my brain. It's like a sticky note. Like it just sticks it in my brain. I remember that level. Okay. So, okay, cool. So now we have this, right? So like, you know, when you have these levels all marked out, this is how this looks on the lower time frames. So you're marking out the higher time frames because you're using them for the lower time frames. You're watching how price reacts to levels. Like, your goal is to be able to read a chart and be able to identify what it wants to do next, right? And again, you don't have to be an expert or anything like that, right? Now, what are the next levels that I tend to mark out for me personally? This is just something that I like to do. I like to mark out my pre-market highs and lows, right? So I'll come over here and I'll mark out this high, and then I'll mark out the low, which is going to be down here. Well, why do I like to do this? This is also just more support and resistance. This is where price was at during pre-market. If we break higher, right, then there's a likelihood that we go higher, right? It's like a guideline. It's like a road, and it kind of gives you like a guideline of where price could potentially go, okay? So, you know, price in this particular scenario, right, this level was from yesterday's highs, right? We end up pulling back through this level and coming back down to 280. So let's say, you know, you were watching this and you were waiting for the market open. You know, when people ask me, like, Tez, how do you find targets? How do you know where your targets are at? My targets are already on the chart. My targets are already on the chart because they're just support and resistance. Where is the next place that price will go against me? So if I'm shorting the market here, the first place that price will go against me is right here. Notice how I didn't drop down to a lower time frame and mark this out with y'all. I just marked it out on a higher time frame. It's respected on the lower time frames, right? So what you're doing is you're waiting for levels to be hit, and you're waiting for a reaction of the market. You're waiting to see how the market will react in this particular time frame, right? So in this scenario, this was the first place that we would bounce from. So is it shocking that price pulled back and bounced from this level? No. I already knew that that could have happened. If it broke through this floor, where could be the next place that we would bounce from? Which would be right here, which is my previous day highs. Well, if we broke through there, where's the next level? Right here. And this is how I have my targets. So if I take puts off this level, I have target 1, target 2, target 3, target 4. I always have 4 targets. The reason I like to have 4 targets is because there's going to be extreme opportunities in the market where it's just flowing in your direction, right? There's going to be days where the market sells off, and it sells off with a ton of volume, right? And you don't want to be leaving so much money on the table. So then you got to learn how to manage your positions, right? Exactly. You got to be able to trim and leave runners. And this is why it's important to have levels. If you're cutting all your profits at the first target, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And I can show you an example of this if we look here. Let's come back left, because this is a specific example that I went over with my group, right? You know, these are levels that are marked off. Some of these might just come from a lower time frame, right? But like, look at this, right? Let's say, you know, you took puts here because we broke under the lows of pre-market, right? Let's just say that was your way of trading, for example, right? So price breaks under, and let's say you take this entry here. Well, look, if you closed out at your first target, let's say this was your first target right here, right? Let's say this was your first target. If you closed out here, all of your position, you're feeling great about yourself, right? Let me walk you through what it's like really being a trader. You feel great. I'm green on the day. Don't let the market reverse back in a little bit in the opposite direction. So you closed out, and I knew I closed out at the right time because you're so happy about being right. You want to be right. And the thing that the market has taught me over the years is that a lot of the times, right, you trying to be right is why you're losing so much money. And I've learned that I just got to get to the point where I'm okay with whatever happens. And that's personally something that I have, you know, I've learned over years. It takes time to learn these things. It takes time. I wouldn't even say it takes time to learn it. Like, you can hear me say it and you can learn it now, but to believe in it and to trust it and then to have discipline in it, that's a completely different. That takes time. That takes repetition. It takes a lot of L's. It takes you learning the same lesson over and over and over and over. It's like God giving you the same lesson over and over and over again until you decide to say, hey, all right, I'm gonna listen this time. Right? So if you would have closed out your entire position at this target, look at all the money you left on the table. I mean, this trade here alone, this went over 2,000% this day. How do I know? Because I have members who took this trade. How did I know that they were going to make money on it? Is because when the trade triggers and I have my strat setups and I have my targets, I take the position, I know how much I'm going to lose. I know where I'm getting out. That's it. That's all you really need to know. Everything else is just sitting there and not doing anything at all. And that's the hardest thing about trading. I made a video about that a lot of people really like, but it's true. The hardest thing in trading is just sitting there and doing nothing. Let alone, don't start making a bunch of money, right? Like when I started making significant amounts of money from the market, I had so much time on my hands. It did not make sense. Like if I'm being honest with y'all. When you have your first $10,000 day, you're looking at life so differently. Like, you know, you gotta, like when you have a $10,000 day, a lot of people can't fathom it right now, but you know, it is what it is, right? You gotta work on your own belief system. But when you have your first $10,000 day, you start looking at shit like, all right, I'm about to go all in on this, number one, right? But number two, look at how much time that I have on my hands to be able to do what I want when I want, right? The amount of time that you had to, you know, the amount of time that you have to put into making 10,000, right? Before, you literally just made that in a day. So now you got weeks and months, 10K in a day. It's like, okay, great. You know, that's phenomenal, right? But like, what things could I still improve on? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I got some big earners in here. I see some of y'all. I know some of y'all have some bigger accounts, so I think you get what I'm saying. Keep going, bro. Got you. I'm getting distracted. I know. So yeah, this is how you mark out support resistance. Let's do it again. All right. This time I want to interact with you guys. I want to join the group. My group is currently full. Sorry, but I have a lot of free information out there that you can take advantage of. I don't want anything from you. Just soak up the free information, and then if I open up spots next month, just be one of the first people there. I only do enrollment once a month. Yes. Why don't you enroll? Because I like to work with people. I like to make sure I give people quality when I work with them. All right, so let's look at another chart. Somebody send me out another ticker. We'll draw it out again. Hey, shout out to Guru Nanda, right? I know y'all been seeing it. I remember when you left Cleveland to go to Atlanta, inspired. Appreciate that, bro. Yeah, Cleveland is not it. Let's look at a different ticker. CCL. All right, let's look at CCL. Let's look at Carnival. Okay, so let's mark out support and resistance on here. All right, so let's actually walk you. Let me see if y'all are learning. So what's the first thing that I do when I look at this chart? This is cool, bro. You got a subscribe out of me. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I'm glad you guys liking it. What is the first thing that you do when you come onto this chart? Full port is crazy. I did not say that. Come on, y'all. There's no one who said the right answer yet. Okay, we're marking out levels. Okay, we know that, right? But like, what is the first thing that you do? We just talked about it. Exactly. Thank you, Hype McThrift. Okay, you're marking out deep V's, number one, yes, right? But you're marking out your previous day highs and lows, right? So I'm gonna mark out previous day highs and lows. So look what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come over here. This is the previous day. That's the high, and this is the low. And you can label it if you want to, all right? So boom, that's the first thing that you do. Now what do we do? Once you mark out previous day highs, previous day lows, what do you do now? Stop gatekeeping and say the name of the, this is TradingView. I just told y'all that. TradingView. I've said this. Go to a smaller time frame. No. What else do we do, y'all? Somebody just said it. Come on, I gotta make sure y'all are interactive. If you're learning and you actually know what I'm talking about and it's making sense, comment the right answer if you know it. Okay, thank you, Dr. E. And Q, thank you guys. You're looking for the deep V's now, right? So like, where's price wicking at the same time? What do I mean by wicking? You see these two taps up here? They seem like, damn, those are fucking close together, right? Well, guess what? You probably should mark that out, right? Boom. So this is a level here, right? This is a level of resistance. If price is down here, this is resistance, right? Well, where's the next place that happened, right? Where we got a lot of wicks around the same level, right? right? Well, you can look right here. Well, how do I know this? I'm not just looking here. I'm looking to the left. I'm coming all the way over here and I'm looking, I'm saying, hey, where am I getting 2 to 3 taps? Well, you got 1 tap here, 2 taps here. Notice what happened. Every time price got up here, we sold off. Price got up here again, sold off. Notice where it came to, the floor that we already marked off. That's why you got to mark out previous day highs, previous day lows, right? And then, right, you have these levels in between, right? So if I come over here, why am I marking off this level? Look at rejections. Price came up, sold off. Price came up, sold off, right? Price broke through here and sold off. We broke through here before. This was once a level of resistance that became support. We ended up breaking through support, right? So now I'm just finding levels in between here, right? So now I could come over here and I can look to the left. Well, look at this, boom. And it does not have to be perfect. This is something else that I talked about before. When you're marking out support and resistance, don't try to make this shit perfect, yo. Like, mark out the levels that matter. As long as you see 2 to 3 taps, like why did I mark out this one? Well, look, if I zoom in here, you got a tap right here. You got this tap here. You got these taps here. Notice how price is just coming back to the same levels, right? That's a head and shoulders pattern. Yeah, this looks like a head and shoulder. You got the neckline right here. Looks pretty clean. Yeah. So are we understanding this a little bit better? And then you drop down to a lower time frame. So let's say you mark out all the support and resistance here. Well, you just drop down to a 4-hour and say, hey, do I see anything different on the 4-hour? Or I might come up here and I might say, hey, look at this big range in between here. I need another line in between here. So I'll just mark out this. Why did I mark out this? 1, 2, 3, 4, all of these, and 5. Boom. I have another resistance level right there, right? And then I will look back to the left again, all the way back here. Where's another level? Well, this is a level right here. And I can look left and I can tell that this is a level because of this range over here from in the past, right? So boom, you're just using the same levels. And then, okay, so look at this, watch this. So price is at, for CL or CCL. If price gets back under 28.41, my targets would be 27.66 and 27.15. This is how you're using these as targets. If price breaks through here, target to the upside is target 1, target 2, target 3. So are y'all seeing how these levels that I'm marking out are just support and resistance, but they're targets? If price breaks through here, here's the next place it could go. And I'm having them on both sides. I know where my resistance is if we look for calls. I know where my support is if we go to the downside. Deep V's, yes, that's what I call it. Hey, God bless, bro. Looking for your time to teach. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Everything making sense so far? I think I'm explaining things pretty simply. You're a good teacher, gang. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. How are you applying the strat? So how do you apply the strat? The strat, I am using the strat around these levels to get confirmation of where price wants to go. So around key levels, around big levels, I mark them out, right? Now, how do you avoid IB crush? It depends on the stock that you're picking. So just don't trade anything that has high volatility. Damn, this guy helped me understand the strategy. That's lit. I think I'd be overthinking marking the charts. Yes, you just gotta, like, the way I look at it, this is how we should mark a chart, right? So let's look at another ticker. Somebody throw out another ticker for me, please. Somebody throw out another ticker. This is how simple I want you to make this, okay? Okay, so USAR. Okay, so let's look at this, right? This is how easy this should be for you. When you look at this chart, the first thing you do is mark out the absolute dumb obvious, right? So you got previous day highs, previous day lows. Let's say we mark those out, right? But where are the dumb obvious levels, right? Well, you got this level right here, right? Down here, this is a support level right here. This level right here, deep V, is a support level. This is a deep V. This is a support level, right? This is a deep V. This is a support level, right? And then how do I know that these are levels? Because in the past, if I'm just looking left, as I'm marking it, I'm looking over to the left and I'm confirming that there's another tap. If there is, good, right? This is an obvious level. This is a deep V, right? You got 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap, 4 tap, 5 tap, 6 tap, 7 tap, strong level, a strong level right there, right? Then you zoom in a little bit more. You might find some other levels in between here. So look at this. You just mark it out. And I'm not overcomplicated. I'm not trying to make it perfect or nothing. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to have your charts perfect, you're trying to time the market. You're trying to say you know more about the market than the market knows about itself. I think that'll help a lot of you who might have trouble with, feel like you're being over analytical when it comes to marking out your charts. You do not know more than what the market is going to tell you. So I'm only drawing out deep V's, right? Most obvious one is going to be up here. I have this level, right? I can come down here and I can look at these taps here, right? I could come here. This is a level here. Boom. I'm just looking for multiple taps, right? And then I'm just trading within this range. So now USAR, if it breaks under 1968, the next place that price could go to is 1783 and 1506. What do the deep V's mean though? That means this is the place that price reversed. So a V is like this. This is the point at which we reversed. So a V goes like this. This bottom point down here is where price reversed. Does that make sense? I think that was a great explanation. I'm not gonna lie. Even if you guys don't give me any praise, I think that was a great explanation. Make sense? Is this clicking or what? I only got one yes in the chat. I'm sad. Can I get like at least 2 more yeses at least? When it breaks below a level, are you looking for puts or waiting until it gets to the next level? It depends on market structure. So like, you know, this is why I say like a lot of times, thank you guys. That is the type of chat I want to see all the time. Why can't the chat look like this all the time? Why can't it just look like that? Bro, you're cooking. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We got 430 people in the check-in. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Damn, what was the fucking question again? What was the question? Oh my gosh, bro. I'm getting distracted. What did I just say? Can somebody remind me, please? I don't know. Okay, I guess we're all fucked. All right, so I completely forgot. All right. So these levels, right? Hard to see your candles, right? Exactly. So like this is the easiest way to draw deep V's. Why? Because if you're shrinking the chart in and you're condensing the price action, it's going to be easiest for you to see reversals. Right? It's the easiest, like this is the easiest time for you to see when price is reversing. If you just do this, and we could go to a completely different chart, right? Let's go look at realty income, right? We're over on the daily time frame, right? Look how simple it is. Like, and granted, if you want to expand it, you can look at this like this, but there's no, like, here's what I want you to learn. There is no perfect way to do this, right? And it doesn't need to be perfect. All you have to do is go into the chart and say, where's the deep V's? Where are we tapping multiple times? Ask yourself that question. When you ask yourself that question, you'll start looking at the obvious. Okay, where was the highest V at? Right here. In this range, where is it at? Right? Okay, well, I got one right here. Right? You should just be able to look at it, identify the wicks, and then look left, look left, look left, look left, right? That's literally it. I'm not overcomplicating it. I have this level here. Why do I have this level? Well, I have this here, right here. Where's the next level of support? This V here, where we reversed. How do I know this is a level of support? Well, look at all the price action that you had around this range, right? Where's my next level? You can mark out a level in between here. Let's say 57 and 58 is too big of a range, right? Well, you can mark out something in between here. You could drop to a lower time frame, or you could just mark out a range within here where you see multiple taps. So all I'm doing is I'm just looking at multiple taps, and then look, obviously we forgot our previous day highs and lows. So look, you mark it out. This is my previous day high, previous day low, boom. And this is how you would read this. Now, is this too close? Yeah, so I could just delete it. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be perfect at all. Is this making sense? Don't try to learn it all right now. Just learn something. Exactly. Just take something away from this. Don't try to learn everything. Don't try to like condense everything. And this is why it's like, I love when people teach. And I love teaching myself. But like a lot of what I'm showing you is like still like very minimal in what's the best way to say it? Like, this is way more simplified than what actually goes into trading, which is why I always tell y'all, don't go out there buying no courses, y'all. Like, join a community, if anything, right? If you're gonna do anything, don't buy a course on trading. I'm gonna tell you firsthand from the person who has spent $20,000 plus on just learning the market, from the person who has already bought the courses that you're probably gonna buy. What I would tell you to do is join a community. Join like a Discord or like a fucking WAP. Join one of those where you can get ongoing help. And I'm not saying you got to come with me because obviously mine is closed, right? But with someone else or whoever else it is, right? Go where you can get live information because scenarios change. When you're looking at it, when you're buying a course, it's only situational based. You need multiple different scenarios for you to really comprehend trading at a higher level, in my personal opinion. So like, I recommend joining a Discord. There's a bunch of other Discords out there that are really good, right? I know Aristotle has a great Discord community. I know, myself, obviously. JR Greatness has an amazing community. Who else? iCurly K, amazing community. Ace, amazing community. Like, all these people have amazing communities you guys can check out. Or you can just go out there and get the information from YouTube if you want. Right? I don't know that many other traders, right? I mean, I don't know their experience, but I've heard from those groups that I've talked about that they're pretty good. Right? Love K, I heard she's really good at SPX as well. So yeah, go check out all these people, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are great people to learn from. Join a group though. Don't buy no course, yo. JR changing lives, that's a fact. That's my dog. Okay. Now I want to be in the closed group. I know, man, I know. I'll let you guys know when I open up spots, but it's not going to be this month. More than likely, it'll be next month. Like I said, I only open up enrollment once a month. Once to twice, depending on the month. Okay, so here's another thing, right? So let's move on to the next thing, right? So now we know how to mark out levels, right? So now you know how to mark out levels. What is the next thing that I look for before I take a trade at a level? Like, why would I enter a trade? I like to have catalyst, right? What do I mean catalyst? This is where fundamental analysis comes in, right? Catalyst is a headline or a event that has happened with the stock that would increase the volume in the trading. So it would be like, you know what I'm saying, a CEO step down, right? Or they just partner with OpenAI, right? Whatever the scenario is. Huge catalyst. Where do I get catalyst from? You can get it from Twitter. You can get it from CNBC, Yahoo Finance. This is why I always have these apps on and I have the alert set, right? And then I trade around these levels based off catalyst. So catalyst is very important because that's where the volume is going to come from, and that's where some sentiment is going to come from. CPI reports, exactly, data, right? So on ETFs, right, trading, when you're trading FOMC or interest rates or CPI, PPI, NFP, all these things, right? When you're trading these different data, like all these different points, ETFs will do really well because there's going to be a lot more volume, a lot more money being pushed or taken out, right? Do you use Forex Factory? Yes, that's a platform that you guys can use. Just go to forexfactory.com. But yeah, Forex Factory will get you guys to know where all the data and information is. You were talking about a workshop. Yes, so next Sunday, I'm hosting a live trading workshop where I'll just teach all this stuff to you in a Zoom call for free. If you work a 9 to 5, you have more than $2,500, or you have a cash flowing business and you want to learn more about this stuff, then you could click this orange button right here on TikTok and you can reserve a free seat. It's going to be via Zoom. It's going to be private. It's only 500 people. And I do this about once or twice a month. So yeah, if you want to be there and you want to reserve a seat, just click right there, that orange button. So yeah, a lot of times when I'm taking these trades, I'm looking for a catalyst around these levels. If I'm looking at IWM or something like that, I might not need as much catalyst. Unless it's data, which is pretty important. Even this candle right here, right? I'm gonna delete this. This candle actually tells you a pretty big story. I would not be surprised if we see further downside on IWM. So again, this isn't even the strat, right? Like when you learn the strat, you can't unsee it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Once you know what the strat is and how it trades, you will never be able to just look at a chart the same, right? Because you understand what price is doing. Can you explain catalyst if you can. Yes. So a catalyst is basically a big event with a particular stock or within the market that will increase volume, right? So, you know, a specific headline, a partnership between two companies, a CEO stepping down, you know, somebody being replaced in the company, more hiring, you know, firing, right? I know you guys are seeing a lot of layoffs. Layoffs are positive things for companies. So, you know, when I first started trading in 2020, like in end of 2021, going into 2022, when I heard about companies doing layoffs, I thought that was a bad thing. But it's actually a good thing because the company is actually cutting down. Double-edged sword, right? It's bad for people. It's good for the company, right? It's good for the company because now they can open up more space for them to be more profitable. When I understood that, I didn't know that, right? But when I understood that, I'm like, oh shit, I've been trading this the wrong way this, you know, these first couple times. Okay, good, I know that. And now you just end up picking up on these things. But catalyst is just big events, things that are going on with a particular stock or within the market that will increase volume, that will increase the volatility. What do I mean by volatility? Just how much a stock moves up and down, its range, right? That's another way of putting it. Okay. So like, you know, in this particular situation, you know what I'm saying? This candlestick is telling you a story. Price, you know, we ended up opening here and we ripped higher, right? But we failed to stay up at this height, right? We failed to break above this level, right? And go higher. And we ended up closing lower. So what I'm guessing, right? Or what I'm willing to look at for tomorrow for price action is price under 244.70. It can fill a gap at 244. The next target would be 242 and then 241.50. Those would be my levels if we break to the downside. And then we could even maybe see 240 as well. And how do I know these levels? They're just support resistance. That's it. You're doing a great job of simplifying what you're explaining. Keep it up, bro. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think I'm making some of this stuff make more sense for a good amount of people. And I think that's why I like teaching too. Like, I like the ability, I like to know that I have the ability to explain things that were once complicated to me in a more simple version for others. I like to teach because of that. Like, I actually enjoy coming on these lives. Real life, feel like I'm in a class right now. Is it a good class or is it like a fucking bored? Best teacher I don't came across, bro, hands down. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. I really appreciate that. How do you decide your entry after price breaks? Okay, that's a great question. Okay, so let's look at okay, let's drop down to a lower time frame. So how do I take my entries, right? So Bitcoin bull. Yes, I am a Bitcoin fanatic. I am a maxi, okay? I'm officially a Bitcoin maxi. 80% of my entire net worth is in Bitcoin. So if it goes left, you heard it from me personally, I need a place to stay. If it goes right, you don't know me. Let me stop. Let me chill. When did you start trading? Back in like the end of 2021, going into 2022. I thought you sold clothes for a living. No, I do multiple things. You know, I do a couple different things. I've been investing since 2020. I don't know if anyone ever knew this, but like all the money that I was making from clothing, I was putting everything in the stock market. So like this is how I've been able to grow my net worth, if we're being real. Okay, so look at this, right? So let's explain this, right? How would I find my entry off of this, right? So knowing that I have these levels marked off, okay, how would I take entries? I'm in a Discord and you have explained so much more in these 5 minutes. That's funny. I think you guys will love this. The free course I have, it's 8 hours. I think you guys will love that. If you thought this was good, I think you guys will love that. All right. So to answer your question, how would I take this trade, right? Let's say I'm not trading the strat, right? Because when you're trading the strat, you're looking for certain types of candles, right? Certain combinations of candles. So let's just say I'm trading support and resistance, right? Which was one of the first ways that I learned how to trade when I first got started in the market, or just even be able to identify the market in itself. Before I started investing heavy, I had to understand support and resistance. Buy from deep support, sell at deep resistance. Follow, thank you. Okay, now I trust you for sure. I've been following you for a while. Where can I find your class? Everything's free, so you can just pretty much find it on YouTube, or I have like a free course in my bio as well. But thank you, I appreciate that. It means a lot. So how would I take this trade, right? Before I get distracted again, how would I end up taking this trade for this scenario, which was today, which I ended up missing? So let me tell you what I should have done today that my members did today and actually made money on. And yeah, and then I'll show you the proof afterwards. Thank you guys so much for the follows. 400 followers in this one live. Do y'all understand how fucking crazy that is? It's insane. It's crazy. Okay, so let me get back to this because I'll be getting distracted. So how do you take the entry when price breaks a level, right? So like, let's rewind this. Let's come back here. Boom. So this is what the market looks like right before the market opens. So this is pre-market. Okay. YouTube, I'm gonna drop this link for you guys. This is the free course right here for you guys. Sorry guys, I want to just make sure they have this because I'm not able to send chat like messages in both chats at the same time, but I'm streaming across 3 platforms, so I don't know why I wouldn't be able to do that. But so this is what this looks like during pre-market, right? So what, like, how do you read this? How do you understand this? So if you're not going to trade the strat, I'm not going to force you to. What I will say is turn on this indicator. Get this indicator right here. 50%er by trend 10x. Okay. This will mark out previous day highs, previous day lows, previous year highs and lows, right? The reason this is important is because you can identify strong levels of support or resistance on higher time frames without having to mark them out yourself, right? Or you can just use your regular levels. It's up to you. This is just a great indicator that I like. It's free, so you can check it out. I'm not the type of person to gatekeep my indicators from y'all. I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to see y'all win, and I don't want nothing from you, okay? So you have that indicator, right? So what am I noticing here? So price came down to 245, which is also a round, solid psychological number, okay? So let me not make things too complicated. But for those of you who know what I mean by that, you can also, you know, catch the wave there. But for the rest of you, completely forget that I said that, right? So what do we notice here? First off, you look left. Okay, what happened the day before? Well, price made a low all the way down here at 244.70, right? Before we reversed higher. So this entire box here, you could potentially say is a demand zone. It's a place where buyers like to buy. Why do I know this? Because when price came down here before, we ended up pushing back higher with a lot of volume. And this is what you'll get when it's strong levels of support and resistance. You'll usually have an influx of buyers or an influx of sellers at that level. Okay. So I look left and I understand, okay, this is what happened yesterday. What is the chances of this happening again? Because remember, when you're trading, it's probability based. Nothing works 100% of the time. I don't care what person you're going like stream wise or YouTube video wise, whatever they're explaining, nothing works all the time. And part of being profitable is just winning more than you're losing. And what I mean by that, and the reason I'm saying it is because it's a possibility. This could also not work. So what would happen if I'm a trader, and what would be the right way to go about this? Well, this was bought up in literally the day before. The overall market structure, if we come back and you kind of zoom out a little bit, it probably won't look the best on the 30 minute, but you would have to go up to a higher time frame, right? If you go over to a 4-hour time frame, right? The structure has not broken, right? Like if you look at this, we're still making, let's actually draw this out for you guys so y'all can see it a little bit better. Okay, so you're still making these higher highs, right? You're making higher highs and higher lows, right? So overall, the market is still in an uptrend. There's no reason for you to change your analysis of being a buyer or seller or anything like that. There's no reason to change that, right? Let me actually go back to this. So we're still in an uptrend, right? So the overall bigger picture is still going up, right? Still buyers in control until that changes on a higher time frame. Remember, the higher time frames matter more than the lower ones. I don't care who you listen to. Higher time frames matter more unless you're only trading on the lower time frames. If you're trying to be a day trader, listen to this. If you're trying to be a scalper, you're gonna have to go find somebody else. All right. Okay. So back to what I said. This level is a strong level of support. So when I see this and I see this candlestick right here, right? What is this candlestick? Without even me having the Strat candlestick indicator or anything like that. This is showing me that we found a bottom. This is a potential reversal here, right? This candle is I haven't done a candlestick anatomy stream yet, but I'll do it. Exactly. This is a hammer. This is a specific type of candle. And if you identify this candle when price is going to the downside and it gets to a level of support, this is an indication that we are going to either make a move higher, right? Or the higher likelihood is that we will make a move higher, right? Can it still go to the opposite direction? It can, but this is a signal. This particular type of candlestick right here is a signal to you to say, hey, it's a potential that we could reverse. So where would I want to get into this trade? Well, I want to see if we can break through here. right? 245.53. So what will I do? I'll drop down to a 5-minute time frame now. This is where I get into the trade, right? So what does it look like for me to actually take the trade itself? So look, the market opens. The first 5-minute candle looks like this. So we have a break and close above this 245.53 level, okay? So we have a break and close here. So what I want to see now is if the next candle can open and continue to stay higher. So when the next candle opens, if it breaks this level, I'll take my entry. I've already have confirmation that we've broken above this level. I'm just looking for the entry. So now look what happens. This candle comes back lower, right? So I don't enter the trade if it pulls back, right? Because it could easily go back in the opposite direction. I wait until we break back through with volume. Once you break back through, you take the calls. And then how would you watch this, right? Well, you just go up to either a higher time frame where you can stay on the 5-minute, and then you just mark out your targets. I just set alerts. So let's say I took my entry back here. My targets would be target 1 right here, target 2, target 3. This is an extreme case scenario. If price just runs in my direction, this is the place where I'm just out. I'm good. But these positions here, I'm scaling out. So let's say I buy 3 contracts. I'm selling my first contract here, I'm selling my second contract here, and I'm selling my third contract here. That's how you size out of your positions. Now, everyone does them differently, right? You can sell 2/3 of your contracts on the first target and then let the last one run. Whatever scenario works best for you. That's just how I do it, right? So now when we break, I take the entry, right? And I just wait for my targets. So I set alerts in TradingView. So if you come in here, you can click this plus sign, right? Because I'm in rewind mode, I can't do it. But you can come up to this little clock up here and you can just click the price and then it'll alert you. So now what I personally do is like, I try not to. I'm not gonna say like I'm perfect. I try not to exit my trade until my alert tells me to, or I get stopped out of the trade. Are you buying in the money or out of the money? I buy out of the money contracts. The dots, are we gonna sell? No. These are targets, okay? So what you're doing now is it breaks and you're waiting for targets. So I set alerts. When my alert tells me to get out the trade, I get out the trade, or I size out of my position, or I sell some shares, or I mean, not shares, I sell some contracts. So look what happens. All you're doing is waiting. So look, 5 minutes later, not only has your first target been hit, your second target is right here. So you're just waiting, wait for the next alert. Well, look what happens. Rips up higher. Now your third target is here. So now you have a unique situation now. Well, do I want it to hit my third target to the cent? Or am I okay with where I'm at? And that's up to you, right? That's completely up to you. Well, in this scenario, let's say you wanted to stick to your plan and you're waiting to your last target. Boom, price comes up, it breaks your target, you close out your position, right? Well, let's say in this scenario, right? The first thing that you want to identify, this is a key lesson that I learned, right? Is when you see candles growing in a direction, right? So it was small and then it got bigger and it got bigger and it got bigger and it got bigger. There's no reason for you to exit the trade. What do I mean by that? They're giving you confirmation of who is in control. So buyers are clearly in control. There's literally no reason for you to close out your trade early. So as you see these are growing, you hold the position. You can see these on lower time frames if you want to sit on a lower time frame, right? So now let's say, okay, perfect. This all happened. Cool, dandy. All right. But what if I miss my entry? Well, for me, this is the trade that I took today. Price got back to my last target and I said, I'm okay with shorting this. Why? Because when the market was here before, when we retested, we sold off. So the way I'm looking at this is it's possible that we could sell off again. It's a part of my strategy, right? Or a part of how I trade, right? And then look, the next candle opens and this is a reversal. Now, what do? I can just wait until price decides to break under 247.21 and I take it back through this range. So my target 1 would be right here, target 2, target 3, target 4, right? You're trading it in the opposite direction now. So look what happens. Price breaks lower, right? Does it get all the way to my target? No. Ends up bouncing around, right? But notice what you see, right? So we're consolidating in this box now, right? So price is just kind of playing out. It's respecting this VWAP, right? So this acts as support and resistance. At some point in time, my first target ends up getting hit, right? So at some point, we break under the VWAP, which is now a bearish signal. This is showing me that, look at this. What do you guys see here? I'm going to draw it out, but I want you guys to type it down below. What do you see right now? And you don't need to know all the crazy shit and stuff like that. I just want you to identify what you see. What is price doing? Exactly. All right, so y'all are catching on, right? It's in a downtrend, right? We're selling off. We're in a bearish trend. How do I know this? This slope is slanted to the downside. So if I see this, why am I trying to take calls when I already have levels to the downside? I'm going to play the downside because the trend is in the downside, right? The trend has shifted. So now, what do you say? Okay, well, look, since let's say, you missed this one, you missed this initial entry, and then, you took this entry and it didn't work out, whatever the scenario is. Where's my next place that I want to get in? I'm going to wait until price is already in a downtrend. Now I want you to break a key level. This is a key level, 246.30. It's an order block. So if we break under this order block, there's a chance that we can increase in selling pressure. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, so boom, look. When this candle closes down here, I'm taking the entry. This is confirmation. Price comes back and retests. So remember what I told y'all. What was once the ceiling, or once the floor, becomes the ceiling. What was once the ceiling becomes the floor, right? I got my Guru Nanda teeth whitening in right now, so that's why I got this little slur. But yeah, but I don't know where that came from. But yeah, so look, it retests. So let's say you wanted to wait for the retest. There's a lot of people who do break and retest. You wait for price to break under a level, retest it, and then when you get confirmation if it closes lower, then you could take an entry here. So you could have taken an entry here, or you could have taken the initial break. Completely up to you, right? Well then, where's my targets? Target 1, right? Target 2, target 3. Why are these my targets? This is the next place for price to go against me. So I'm going to take profits at that place. And then look what happens. Is it not coming down here to the cent? Look at this. Price came down, right? So, let's say you took your entry back here. Price came down to this target, to the cent. Pushes up higher and goes lower. The trend is the same. It's still in a downtrend, right? So now I'm just watching price. It comes up, breaks back through, hits my second target, hits my third target, and I'm out of there. And this is at the end of the day. So now I can really close out with a couple 100%. And then look what price does. It comes down even lower. And this is during post-market. Is this helpful for you guys? Has this been helpful? Is this kind of like making more sense? So like this is literally what I do. Like, I'm not charging you anything to know any of this. I don't care for you to pay me or anything like that. I just want you to just get better at this, Right now I'm on a 5-minute. This is what it looks like. So you start. So look at this now, right? Think about how we just did this. You marked out the daily time frame, the daily and the 4-hour. I marked out the daily and the 4-hour. I know my levels now. Now I drop down and I watch on the 15 or 30 minute. I'm just watching. But when it's time for me to enter the trade, I'm going to the 5-minute. You can go to the 3-minute or the 5-minute. And then when price confirms that the trade is going in your direction, either half of the candle breaks your entry, right? Half of a 5-minute candle breaks above it, or you wait until a candle closes above your entry. Then you take the trade. Proper risk management. You sit back and chill. You set alerts. You don't do shit until your alerts go off. You don't do anything until the alert goes off. Oh my God, almost 600 people on the check-in. Why my camera starting to look crusty, yo? There we go. Oh shit, hold on. Too much light? Or are we good? Yeah, let's spice this baby up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Turn on those lights. You can turn on boom this. Then you turn on those lights back there. Boom. Now you in action. We just switched the whole setup up in literally seconds. I think this is too much light though. Let's go ahead and drop this down a little bit. And then let's have this focus in. Bam. Just like that. Is this helpful though? I follow you on YouTube. Yo, appreciate that, bro. What about your stop loss? So since I trade options, I would just have a percentage stop loss. You got 50 remotes, bro. I only got 3. Where do I learn the strat? So guys, I did not create the strat. Rob Smith is the creator. May God rest his soul. You guys can check it out on YouTube. I have a video explaining it. He also has like videos on explaining it as well. It's just a strategy that I personally like. But again, right now I'm just showing y'all support and resistance. And I know this so well because this is how I first got started trading. I can understand you like I can with Chris saying. Appreciate that, bro. My YouTube is just my first and last name, Dantes Akron, on YouTube. Or you guys can just click the link in my bio. It'll take you straight over there. How do you choose the target prices? Well, this all off of daily support and resistance. All of my targets are just support and resistance on higher time frames. Are your support lines different colors than your resistance? Nope, because I already know where price is. If price is under this, this is resistance. If price is over it, right? If price is over this, this is support. This is the floor. What's the difference between options and Forex? Options is trading stock options, contracts. Forex is trading currencies. What is the minimum amount of capital you can start with doing this? I recommend starting with like $1,000. You can go as low as $100, but like $1,000 is a good place to start. And this is why I keep telling y'all, like, if you want to come to the live trading workshop, you can click this button right here, but you should already be making money, right? From either your 9 to 5, from your business, or from whatever other venture you have, or if you just, you know, you have a lump sum of cash sitting around and you really want to learn this. This is why my workshop is specifically for people who are already making money, because I think when you jump into trading and you're not already making money, you'll come into this gambling. And I'm not the person to teach you how to gamble. I'm the person to teach you how to compound, how to just make small percentages on your account every day or every week and grow your account that way. I'm not the person to show you how to win big every trade. I'm just not that person. So yeah, if you're in here and you're on TikTok and you want to join a private live trading workshop next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, it's going to be private, only 500 people. You can reserve a free seat by clicking here. That's where you go to click to reserve a free seat. It's an orange button with like a little arrow. You just put your information in, it'll take you over to the website, and then we'll text you and email you some free information. I use Webull. That's the broker that I use. With 1K start, what's a good profit loss ratio or margin I can use? You really want to just be trying to grow your account by at least 2% a day. You need 25K to scalp though. Well, that's why I don't scalp. Even though my account is bigger, you can just trade a cash account and you can just trade with the money that you have in there. Everything you should be doing, like all your trades should be proper risk management though. You should only be risking no more than 7% of your account per day. Not per trade, per day. Hey, do you try the strat? Yes, I do. But did all of this make sense for you guys? Is this easy to do? No, it's not. I'm going to be quite frank with you. The date is wrong on the invitation link. Oh shit. I'll fix it after this. What makes it hard is the emotions. All of this stuff looks good until you're in the trade itself and your emotions are spiraling out of control. Great explanation. You are that dude. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. What are the blue dots? This is the VWAP. Just like support and resistance on a line. If price breaks under here, you want to be looking for shorts. If price breaks above, you want to be looking for calls. Every time it bounces, you want to look for calls. Bounce, and then it breaks under, you want to look for shorts. So you could have shorted from when the price got to this line, could have shorted again, and then it went even lower. Very helpful info. How do you know how to target a set prior to going in? We just talked about it, but it comes from support and resistance on the daily or the 4-hour time frame. Those are where my targets are at. How do you avoid false breakouts? So you're not just going to be able to avoid it, right? Like I know there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that be like, how to avoid getting faked out. Like you're going to get faked out. Think of it like this. People on Wall Street, top investors, banks, they get faked out. So it's like, you got to respect that there's just going to be times where you're going to lose. You just need to make sure you have good risk management. So when you do lose, you lose small. And when you win big. Or you win bigger than your losses. Bro, I just learned the 4-hour time frame. Excited to learn more. That's dope. See, we just bringing more light to little stuff that y'all may not know. I'm not saying you need to, you know what I'm saying, know everything out of this class. But just, you know, just vibe. If you hit the follow button, you'll be able to tune into more of these. I do these like 3 times a week. At least I try to. Sometimes life is pretty busy. And I'm a dad as well, so, you know, shit gets crazy sometimes, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So you just hit the follow button, you can tune into these. Can I use this strategy for trading futures? Yes. We can do this. Support resistance works with anything that deals with a chart. Is the blue dots an indicator? Yes, it's called, here's all my indicators, y'all. Y'all can just screenshot them. You guys can screenshot my indicators. Feel free to screenshot it right now. Let me take this teeth whitening out. I'll be right back. Go ahead and screenshot while I'm gone. Okay, we back. That teeth whitening shit works, bro. Hey, all right. So look, I don't have no TikTok shop link, none of that shit, right? But I know y'all been seeing the content how I've been seeing it. So look, I seen it. It was talking about Guru Nanda with teeth whitening, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just try it out. You know, it was only like 30 bucks. Bought it. Boom. First day I used it. Teeth, my front 2 teeth were whiter than the rest of my teeth. I'm like, oh shit, this works. So now we on day 2 of using it. So yeah, teeth getting. I had braces growing up, so it's a little different, but I ain't got veneers. That's what I do know. That's what I do know. All right, cool. So this is this. All right, should we go over another scenario? Should we go over another trade example? Go over another example. I'm not getting enough yeses, so I don't know. We got 500, almost 500 people in here, and I'm only getting 5 yeses. Holy, what is that? 10%? Not even. Tripping. 5%. 1%. Okay, there we go. All right, cool. Let's go over another example. We can do a different ticker. Let's go over trades that I've actually sent out, so that way it's not like hypotheticals, but actual stuff that that the group has taken. So here's what we'll do. We'll go over to the Discord, and I'll just pull stuff from there, and we can go over that stuff. So today we sent out Starbucks, Chipotle, Roblox. Let's take a look at Roblox and see how this ended up doing. I actually didn't monitor this the entire day. Okay, so this is Roblox. Okay, so this is Roblox, and then Discord, Roblox. Okay, so look, this is what I said in Discord when I first sent it out. Has about a $40 range within pre-market trading. Possibly you get a really strong move today as well. Look for the 15-minute orb. So what is the 15-minute orb, and how do I trade this, right? So during a 15-minute orb, you basically go up to the first 15-minute time frame, right, or first 15-minute candle, right? And you mark out the high and the low, and then you can take the break. So what does this look like, right? So this is the 15-minute candle. We're on a 15-minute time frame right now. So I'm gonna mark this out, and I'm gonna mark this out just like this. So this is my first 15 minutes. So when I do this, it's primarily because I don't wanna get caught in crazy price action right out the gate, right? So this is pretty crazy, right? This drop is pretty crazy drop, right? But this is just what I sent out to the group, right? So I'm basically marked this out. And what do? When I'm trading this 15-minute orb or even a 30-minute orb, you have to drop to a lower time frame and wait for confirmation of the entry. What do I mean by confirmation? So I marked out my first 15-minute candle, and then I dropped to a 5-minute. And what I'm looking for is at least half of a candle or a candle close below this line, This is my entry criteria, right? This is my entry criteria. When price, first 15 minutes, this is it right here. So these two candles, did they break lower? Yes. But I need at least 50% of the candle to close lower, right? I mean, 50% of the candle to go lower or close lower. So this candle never closed under the blue line. This candle never closed under the blue line. So I did not take the setup. So look, price still did not, look how much you're saving yourself from getting absolutely smoked with theta on contracts, right? Let me actually pull this up real quick. Oh shit, where did it go? Whoops, did not mean to do that. Let's go ahead and do it just like that again. Okay, there we go. So notice how price is respecting this, right? It's respecting the first 15-minute candlestick. So price is bouncing, so it bounced from here once, bounced from here twice, and then when it did break through, look, when price breaks under this first 15-minute line, right, and it closes, I take the entry. So look, I take my entry here. If you wanted to add a stop loss, your stop loss will go up here, right? So you would have a stop loss here if we break higher, and then you would have targets, and then the targets would be to the downside. So look what happens, right? You take your entry off of a 5-minute close under this line. So you take the entry and then you sit, and look how price is working in your favor. So then you drop from 118.05, or, you know, let's say you got filled at 117.70, right? Let's just call it that. Well, look, you went from 117.70 to a low of 111 on same week contracts. This is easily a couple 100%, right? And, you know, you could have taken profits at any point in here, right? Obviously, I would have more targets set, right? But this is how you would have this. So is this making sense? Like, does this example explain more of what I was already teaching in the past? Mark the 15 starting at 9 or 9:30. So 9:30 is when the market opens. So you're marking out the 9:45 candle on a 15-minute time frame. So you wait until the first 15 minutes of the market is already open. So 9:30, you're sitting out the first 15 minutes. Then at 9:15, you mark out the high and the low, and you wait for a close below the line or above the line, and you take the entry from there. So now, when you take the entry, right, the trade is working out in your favor, and now it's just on you to sit back and chill, right? I either get stopped out or my take profit gets hit. That's how I look at it. It's either gonna work or it's not gonna work. Period. That's what you need to dumb trading down to, right? Stop trying to be the person that's like, oh, I think it's gonna do this, or I know for a fact it's gonna do this, or I know this for, like, I know for a fact this is gonna happen. I never come into any scenario like that. When I'm trading, it's like, hey, if we break this line, it's possible we could go lower. If we break above this, line, this is where price can go. That's it. I'm never coming in like, oh yeah, I know for a fact this is gonna happen, because that's how you get smoked every time. You blow a count every single time. From your entry, where would you set your targets? Like, how would you determine where to set them? It would be from a higher time frame. So look, if I jump up to a daily time frame, right, my targets would be right here. So isn't this crazy? This is on a daily. Price bounced from this level. We bounce from this level again, right? Or this is where we at right now. Bounce from this level. It was once resistance, right? So now all of this is just coming from higher time frames, right? So look, on a 4-hour time frame, what does it look like? I have another target right here as well. So you guys can actually see this, but look at these targets. This is support. This is support. This is support as well. You can use this level as well. So how would your targets look, right? So you would drop down to a 5-minute again, and this is what your trade looks like. Your entry is here, target 1, target 2. That's where your targets will look like. Does that make more sense? Does this part of like understanding where your targets are at and how to find them, is that making sense? Please, can you teach me? Guys, everything is out there for free. You can check out my YouTube or just click the link in my bio and grab the free course. It's literally free. Yes, bro, be more detailed. I'm pretty sure I'm as detailed as I can get. Do you trade any news events like FOMC yesterday? I trade them after. So after data, I'll catch the reaction. I don't trade before it though. That's gambling. When you set your target, does it pull you at the sell point? Does it pull you at the sell point? What you mean by that, Tay? What about the 1 minute time frame? I don't use the 1 minute. Bro is teaching pretty good right now. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is the supply demand strategy good? I think it works. Yeah. Anything. Look, at the end of the day, anything can work. I want y'all to understand this. Everything can work. All the strategies, all of them can work. It's just, are you going to make them work? That is up to you. Will you make them work? Right? You only take 5 minute entries? Yeah. So reminder, everything that I'm finding is coming from a higher time frame. Then when price breaks levels, I'm just literally waiting for a 5 minute confirmation, take the trade, stop loss, target. That's it. Sit back, wait, eat some Pringles, literally eat Pringles, drink coffee, and vibe. No music, no nothing. Just sitting back, just watching price. Okay? Very simple. Let's go over another one. Barbecue Pringles. I'm pulling y'all on right now. If you've never had barbecue Pringles, you're tweaking. Oh my gosh, you're tripping so bad. Let's go to QQQ. Let's look at an example. I know y'all been talking about QQQ a lot. So what do? I'm gonna jump up to a higher time frame, right? So this is actually a perfect example. So look at this. This is on the daily, right? These levels are already marked off. Why? Because these are targets on the daily time frame. I can look at this on a 4-hour time frame as well, right? This would be a 4-hour target here. Boom. So how would this look on QQQ? How should you have traded QQQ today? Or how could you have traded QQQ today? Well, let's take a look, right? So first off, I know this is previous day lows right here. Okay. I know that this is previous day lows. So this is typically a strong level of support and resistance, right? So let's say you wanted to take this entry for puts, right? Because it broke under previous day lows and you're anticipating a sell-off. Well, you drop down to a lower time frame. So let's say price gets close to your entry, which is right here. So notice how this level here is your previous day lows. I just marked it with my line, right? So then look at this, right? This candle, the first 5 minute candle, soon as the market opens, it sold off and it closed at my line. So it hadn't closed under it, right? So now this next candle opens and it completely rips, right? Like just out of there, right? So you might not have been able to even catch this entry. Let's say you did, right? Well, it didn't hit your first target yet, right? So, let's say this trade didn't work, right? Because nothing works 100% of the time, right? So, let's say you take this trade and you never take profits, even when it pull it back or, dropping all the way down here. Let's say you never took profits. Well, now you might get stopped out. From this move back higher, you probably get stopped out. So what do? You say, okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to either look on a higher time frame to see if there's a better entry for me, right? Or just watch price action today and maybe wait for a true breakout. So look at this. Price is just hovering around this price action. So this is hard to trade in between. Right? Especially, if you go up to a 30-minute time frame and you come over here, this looks like a lot of BS. This is a lot of choppy price action. If you go to a higher time frame, you'll notice that this candle, the reason this price action was garbage was because this candle right here on the 2-hour had never broken above or below its previous candle. So this is called an inside bar. When you're trading the Strat, this is called consolidation. This candle has no range. It hasn't broken below or above. So it's just trading in a box. So it's going to be very volatile if it hasn't chosen a direction yet. So now when it does choose a direction, you can literally use this as an entry. Let's say on the 2-hour, let's say you lost your first trade and you saying, okay, let me stick to the higher time frames. Let me see what the higher time frames are doing. So what do? You wait for the candles to print. So let's say you took this trade here and it did not work for you, right? Well, now you wait for this candle to print. This is a 2-hour candle. So this prints at 2 o'clock, right? This prints at 2 o'clock. So at 2 o'clock, you come back to the market. You mark out the high and the low of this candle. You're saying this is consolidation. Now I want to see if the market chooses a direction. So then you drop back down to a lower time frame, right? So you drop back down to the 5 minute. So you have the 2-hour candle marked out, right? This is a range. And now guess what you're doing? You're waiting until we break this range. That's it. So what do? You drop to a 5 minute. And then what do I notice here? Okay, I notice a structure forming. This is a high. This high is lower than this high. This high is lower than this high. This high is lower than this one. This low right here is lower than this low. This low here is lower than this low. This low here is lower than this low. What do I mean by that? You're creating lower highs and lower lows. What is that called, y'all? There's a name for it. If something is creating lower highs and lower lows, what is that called? What is the name of that? I want to see everybody just type it out. Exactly. It is called a downtrend. It is in a downtrend, right? What's another way to see this, right? If you just pull out this and you mark out from here to here to the highs, right? You see that this is angled downward. Okay? So you're in a downtrend. So now you're looking, this is bearish on this time frame. You got to remember, this is on a lower time frame. You got to always keep in mind the higher ones though, because you found this on the 2 hour. These lines here came from the 2 hour time frame. So you know it's in a downtrend on a 5 minute, and now you're waiting for confirmation. So look, now what you're doing is you have it marked out, and now you're waiting for the 5 minute break and close below. So look at this. This candle closes below, right? And then it reverses. Cool, it is what it is. Let's say you did take that entry. You just wait. Your stop loss will be up here, right? You will mark out the previous high. So let's say this was your entry. Let's say this was your entry. Your entry is here. Your stop loss would be up here, the recent highs. If it breaks these highs, the move was invalid, and that's fine. You get stopped out of the trade. But if it doesn't, which it never did, right? It ends up coming lower, and then it confirms that the trade is moving to the downside. And look what happens, right? You say you take puts here, right? Off the 2 hour, price breaks lower, and price comes directly to your target, which is a $2 move at the end of the day. This pays really, really nicely. So yet another example of how this works. And again, you can just backtest this, right? Like, and again, like right now, I'm not even teaching y'all the strat. This is just off of support and resistance. So for a lot of you who are watching this is way more simplified. This makes way more sense for you to do. And that's perfectly fine, right? You may not want to have all of this shit on your chart, right? You may not want to have this and this and this. You may not need all this, right? I don't even need all this, right? But I prefer to use it because I understand it better, right? And it's just preference based. But for those of you who are watching this, right, you know, for the most part, you can literally just trade support and resistance. Think about that. That's crazy, right? Thank you, cool kiddo. I appreciate that, bro. Is this making sense for you guys though? Like, was this overall a good live? Like, do we feel like we learned something from this? And notice how if you came to my streams before, my camera will always die. I bought a dummy battery, y'all. So now stream is good outside of the lagging that's going on right now that I just peeped. But yeah, for real, this is one of the best lives. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. This was recorded for YouTube, so I can throw it up on YouTube if you guys want to check it out. We learned a lot from you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You know, we've been hovering around 400 people for a little minute now. Hey, brother, your videos put me up 10 grand this month. Yo, let's go, Julian. Congrats, bro. That's lit. Proud of you, man. Proud of you, brother. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the free YouTube content out there. I post a lot of good stuff. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, bro. What you think about Alex G? He's the truth. Not gonna lie, he's the truth. Shout out to Alex. A lot of positive feedback. I really appreciate all of it. Yes, if you want to reserve a seat to the free live trading workshop Sunday, you can just click right here, this orange button. For people on YouTube, there's no way for me to drop that in there. So wait, actually I can do it like this. YouTube, you guys can register for the workshop. I just dropped it in the chat as well. For TikTok, there's an orange button right here that you can click and it'll reserve your seat. How much to start with? $1,000 minimum. It's not there, bro. If the orange button right here is not here for you, just go click the link in my bio. Quick question, same YouTube name? Yes, Dantes Akram on YouTube. You guys can check me out there. I have a lot of Strat videos out there if you guys want to learn it as well. And a lot of other videos I think you guys might like as well. need to be 18 plus, I think, to trade. Pretty sure. 684 followers on this live is fucking nuts. Crazy. Is it good for beginners? Yes. My YouTube is great for beginners. Thanks, Tattoo Twin. Appreciate you, brother. How do you pick what stocks to trade? Now that part I will gatekeep. No, I'm just kidding. It's based off data. I mean, not data. Data and catalyst. So like what news is coming out, what companies are reporting earnings. If it's an ETF, do we have data? How do you know if CONF, what that mean? Conf is in, I don't know what that meant. I'm new, but what do you think about TJR Strat? I'm not too familiar with his strat. I mean, I've seen his videos and stuff. I'm not too familiar with his trading strategy though. I just focus on what works for me. How far back would you have to look to determine resistance and support for the historical data? Ideally, you don't need to go that far back on the daily time frame. So that's actually a good question, right? You know, on the daily time frame, you can pretty much go back like 2-3 weeks, right? Because 9 times out of 10, price isn't going to make a move from 633 all the way down to 584. So necessarily, like, I don't need all of these other ones. I just like to have them because when price does decide to move pretty volatile, I like to just know where price can go. Did he answer Mark's question? Let me see. Mark, or was it Mac? Yeah, I answered Mac's question. Hopefully you heard that. Yes, that is correct. Trade options. Can you trade at night instead of the daytime? You would have to trade futures or Forex. How do you know if a confluence is invalid or getting retested? That's why the 5 minute, you wait for a closure below your entry. So the 5 minute, you're waiting for a confirmation. If it doesn't confirm, right, and it goes back higher, then you kind of like dodge that particular trade not working in your favor. What are your favorite time frames? The 1 hour and the 30 minute. Those are my favorites. That's where I spend most of my time. Like intraday, let's say I miss my first setups in the beginning of the day, I'll just watch the hour and look at those candles and how they print. I have a problem with pullbacks. How do you identify them before they knock you out? You shouldn't, there's like, as long as you have good stop losses and you're finding the right entries for yourself, they're bound to happen. Like you're gonna get pulled, like you're gonna get stopped out of trades. Like that's just gonna happen. It's just make sure you have good risk management and just let the trade stop you out. Don't close it out yourself early, because then it ends up reversing, and then you know it could have missed your stop loss by 1% or by one tick, and then it ends up going in your direction. So you stopped yourself out because you thought it was gonna stop you out, but then in hindsight, it got close to your stop loss, and then it went back in the direction that you were hoping for. The shit's so confusing to me, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Well, I mean, the thing is, you gotta watch more videos, bro. You know, I got a lot of content out there you can watch. So for anyone, if this is very difficult for you, just click the link in my bio. It's literally 8 hours long. It is 100% free. It's a full-on curriculum you guys can watch. It's free. I put it out there in an organized manner so that people like yourself, when you watch my streams, if you want to just like digest more information from me and you want to see if I'm really valid or if I know what I'm talking about, you can literally just go watch that. And by the time you're done with that, you'll know more than most people's paid courses. And that's the truth. What's a good risk to reward for an orb strat? It depends on your targets, honestly. I mean, I'll try to shoot for like 2 to 1, bare minimum. Don't forget that it's free. Exactly. It is 100% free. So if you don't get through it, nobody talks about this. Everybody doesn't want to pay for shit. But when shit is free, most people never actually take advantage of it. So I put it out there for you to watch. If you watch all of it, that is on you. I needed this so much. Glad you liked it, Mia. Do you have paid courses? No. I just have my Discord community. I wouldn't even call it a Discord community. I have like a whole school, like everything. 35 hours of curriculum, live classes daily, pre-market calls, live trading. You can see me make money right then and there in your face or lose money right there in your face. Everything's completely transparent. Like in our free version of our group, we have 120,000 people in there. We have 120,000 people in the free version of our group. Been doing this for a little minute now, you know? 120,000 people. You know how many stadiums that fills? Also, another thing is something unique that there is no other community that does trading that has this. Any person who enrolls into TSA, which is my group, every person who enrolls into TSA, they get a complimentary trading LLC from an actual tax corporation, one of the top ones in the States, called Prime Tax Corporate Services. If you guys have never heard of Prime, they're really, really fucking big. They work with a lot of the top companies right now. And so what I've done is I've partnered with them. So now any person who enrolls into my group gets a free trading LLC. There is like a lot of y'all not understanding how much more you're getting taxed by trading right now without trading under an LLC. So any member who comes into my group, they get one for free. So basically they'll take care of the service for you. You just pay the state fees, whatever it costs in your state. So it's going to range for an LLC in all states. I'm pretty sure we all know that, right? But yeah, so any member who joins TSA, they get one of those, and they just got to pay the state fees, and then they take care of it for them. So now you're trading under LLC, you get taxed less, you have more tax savings that you can utilize. There's a lot of different things. You have a paid Discord, I do, but it's currently closed. I'm getting off. Thanks for the info. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in. Hey, I just watched your close my video a few days ago, and today I started my own. Thanks for the tricks. Hey, let's go, man. Congrats, bro. I joined the free group, but can't see anything. Make sure you download WAP. Download the WAP app. Where can I find the 8-hour tutorial you mentioned? I can't seem to find it on YouTube. It is inside my link in my bio on TikTok. For people on YouTube, I know you guys probably can't click the link in my bio, obviously. So I'm just going to drop it for you guys in the chat. You guys can just copy and paste it. There you go. I just dropped it in the chat for everyone on YouTube. Hello, my friend. Thank you for your help. I have a question. Can God make a chili so spicy he couldn't eat? No. Wow, so I can trade under my current LLC? Well, you would have to make a new one. If it's attached to a different business, you wouldn't be able to. What's the name of the tax LLC again? It's called Prime Corporate Services. That's who we're partnered with. So the School of Threaded Arts is partnered with Prime that offers taxes. So not only can you get your LLC done, you can get your estate planning done. So if you wanted a trust, if you wanted to do a will, they can do all of that for you. If you wanted them to handle all of your taxes, you can have them do that as well. Very unique partnership. I've partnered with a lot of really big companies. I've partnered with Shopify. I've partnered with Prime. I've partnered with AutoDS. I've partnered with quite a few companies. It's pretty crazy. If you guys have heard of Ledger, right? Ledger for crypto. I have some stuff in works with them. So yeah, pretty dope. Just be doing my thing, man. 700 followers this live is fucking crazy. Oh my gosh, bro. Yo, all right, real quick. I'm gonna post this on my TikTok. All right. How many people do we have on the check-in? Hold on, let's see. So we streaming right now, right? Boom, we got 711 new followers, 24,000 likes, 17,000 total viewers. Chat, how many people do we have in this live right now? I want y'all to comment down below. How many people do we have in this live? So on YouTube, we have around 48 people still sitting in here right now. And then pretty soon here, the chat is gonna tell us how many people we have live with us in TikTok. So we got 345 people on the check-in right now. And we just vibing. Yeah. That's lit. Bada boom, bada bang. Yes, any member who joins TSA gets a complimentary trading LLC. However, my group is currently closed, so that's something you can look forward to. How old are you? I'm 26. 26. Came from TikTok, now on YouTube. Yo, shout out to Kyle. Appreciate you, brother. If you guys haven't checked out my YouTube, make sure you guys leave a subscribe. So yeah, I think we're at 2.5 hours right now. Easy, yo, thank you guys so much. Oh shit, I forgot to shout out the subs. Oh, I'm tripping. Kyle, thank you for the sub. Real Vision, thank you for the sub. Lady Kia, thank you for the sub. Kelly J, thank you for the sub. Zero, thank you for the sub. D Jackson, thank you for the sub. Jeffrey, thank you for the sub. DJ, thank you for the sub. Marquise, D Hartwell Jr., Nazario, thank you for the sub. Matthew, thank you for the sub. Duty, thank you for the sub. Derek, thank you for the sub. James, thank you for the sub. Brentis, thank you for the sub. Legator, thank you for the sub. Chris, Quincy, Back, thank you for the sub. Jojo, thank you for the sub. CMI, thank you for the sub. Big Benz, thank you for the sub. Jonathan, thank you for the sub. Tanisha, Motivational Records, thank you guys for the sub. Holy fuck. Thank you guys so much. Holy shit. That's crazy. Bro, your tuition seems quite simple. Well done. You got a subscriber. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Just joined the WAP. I'm glad you guys are liking it. I'm glad you guys are joining. What is the name of the free course on YouTube? It's not on YouTube. It's in my what is it called? In my WAP community. It's free. So I'll just drop it in the chat for you again. And you can watch the whole thing there in 4K. Damn, I cannot spell to save my life. There it is right there. I just dropped it in the YouTube chat again for you guys. I subscribe. Thank you, Clutch. Are you Arab? You have an Arab surname. I am Muslim, but my family is Arabic, yes. My great grandfather is Middle Eastern. He's born in the Middle East. You doing your damn thing for real? Thank you, bro. How do you use Sadie ATR levels? I just use it as a range. So basically, like the ATR is the average true range. How far can the stock go before it gets exhausted or before it, fatigues? So I just use it as a range. Here's the ultimate, like this is where price can get to. So I just add it to wherever price is. So if it's $8.28, price is at $6.26, I'll add $8.28 and subtract $8.28, and I have extreme targets. Clean setup. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Appreciate that. How are we feeling after today's, just with this overall stream? How did you guys feel? I need to join the group or the link. My boy JF, what up, bro? You click the link in my bio, bro. It's in there. What's the indicator you use to show the levels of TP? I mark those out off the daily and a 4-hour time frame, so there's no indicator for that. How do we feel about the stream? Keep it a buck. Be completely honest, all right? Like, how did you feel after being in here? Some of y'all have been in here. The longest person in here has been in here for 2 hours and 11 minutes. What the fuck? That means they've been in here for 95% of the time that I've been live. One person has been in here 2 hours and 11 minutes. Join late. Will this live be saved and posted? Yes, it'll be saved and posted to YouTube for free for you guys. Yes. Fire stream, great stream. I'm not really getting a lot of responses, so I think it was probably garbage for the majority of y'all, right? Is that the fact? Is that the truth of the matter? Is that the truth of the matter? Are you the father? Are you the father? You are the father. You are the father. You are the father. You are the father. You broke it down so easy an 8-year-old can understand. Thank you. I appreciate that. It is fire. What is the downside of trading? The emotional impact and the financial impact it has on you. No lie. Nah, we just listening. Learned a lot. I'm glad you guys liked it. It was good. Do you ever use MACDs? Nah, not anymore. Doesn't fit my trading style. Stream was fire. Appreciate the new knowledge. No problem, man. No problem. Why do you give so much for free? Why do I give so much for free? Well, number one is good content. But that's not the most important thing. I think the most important thing to me is like, I have been blessed with the ability to explain things in a way that most people would tell me is very difficult for others to explain to them. So what do I mean by that, right? Like a lot of people are learning from other people and it's too complicated for them to learn. So for me to have the ability to not only transcend from clothing to this and still be able to teach at a very, very high level with something that I have a lot of experience in, I personally like to teach. Like if I'm being completely honest, I love teaching. Like there's no money that I made off of this stream, right? Let's just keep it 100 right now. I didn't make anything. I've been on here for 2.5 hours. I haven't made a single cent outside of like diamonds. And these diamonds are 13 pennies and 10 pennies. So all in all, I probably made $1 on this stream, if that, right? And I just enjoy teaching people. And I think that when people learn something from you, it's like, the way I think of it is like, if I could plant a seed in somebody's mind and they can water it on their own, and then when that seed becomes a tree and they're able to like give fruits of their labor to their children, it just helps me realize like I had a little small impact on that. I'm not trying to take credit for it, but it's just like, if I'm teaching somebody something and then they go teach their kid the same thing that I taught them, like then kind of like their kid learned from me. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm being able to impact more people in a more genuine fashion. And then when I do offer something that is paid, I will have built the trust with you already. So it's like, if I were doing everything and I was only trying to sell something to you, the chances of you really listening to me would be very, very small. But if I can give you everything for free, right? And then there's only certain parts that you need help with, and I know I have a solution to it, and I offer it to you for a certain amount of money, someone's like, most people aren't going to say no because they've already gotten so much for free, or they've already made so much money from the stuff that I already gave them that it's just literally them paying with profits. So like, that's how I like to think of things. Like, it's like Gary Vee said it, right? And it's a great way of saying it. Give, ask. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you give more than you ask for, then naturally you will attract more than you're asking for as well. Because by giving, right, you're open to just, what's the way of putting it, right? Like, just energy returns in the way that you push it out in, right? So if I put out a lot of positivity and a lot of helping people and giving stuff away for free and not looking to like financially harm people and things like that, like the chances of these things, of me attracting the things that I want or attracting what I need for myself, are a lot higher. So I try not to stress about a lot of other stuff, but this is why I do a lot of these for free. So yeah. Smart man, thank you. Do you do these often? I just joined, would love to watch from the beginning. Yes, I do them fairly often, about 2 to 3 times a week. If there's a 30-minute candle that's a 2 down, would you know the next 5-minute candle? Would you say the next few 5-minute candles would be bearish? It depends on where the level. It depends on where price is at. You are a dope person. Many guys are just trying to get more people in their discords. Thank you, bro. So bro's actually a good person in 2025. You're all funny. Yeah. So I don't know. It is what it is. So I just hope you all enjoyed it, man. Like, if y'all need anything from me, just click the link in my bio. Pretty much everything else is free. Anything that you could buy from me is currently all full, so there's no option to pay me. So just enjoy the free vibes. I hope I earned a follow from you. I hope I earned a little bit of respect. So next time you come past this live, you leave a couple likes or you say what's up. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys tuning into this live. It's been 2 hours and 33 minutes. And again, 729 followers, 18,000 viewers total, 15 gifters, almost 30,000 likes, and 60 people on the YouTube. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. I love you guys dearly, for real. Over 60 subscribers from YouTube alone, from this stream. Crazy. So just happy you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoyed everyone pulling up. Thank you guys so much for the support and everything that you guys did. I hope I was able to leave an impact on you. And yeah, this entire thing is going to be posted on YouTube for free. So you guys can go back and rewatch the whole thing. You can put it on 1.5x, 2x. It's all